comments. They're very tame.
Okay.
Oh, you know.
I'm glad you know.
Yeah, no, I work with Dennis Doyle frequently, so that's it. Thank you.
You weren't shocked or?
No, I was pleased by Dennis's comment.
Okay.
They gave nothing mandatory, they gave some very minor suggestions.
Well, that's not, we're talking about the same.
Well, it's a different language.
They have a motion to open the police commission meeting. Public, wait, young man. Okay, motion to open the police commission meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the first we'll have is, can we all rise for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have, let's see, everyone look at the agenda. There are department reports. And Joe, did you have a request also for executive session?
Yeah, we need executive session just for a couple personnel matters.
So Joe would like to make a motion to change it for an executive session for personnel matters. Make a motion that we approve the agenda as changed.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Does anyone have any public input for the new Paltz Police Commission? Okay, if there's none, then what I'd like to do is, Joe, if we, and everyone is ready, we have Joe's department reports. If you want to, Joe, bring us to any important reports you have in it.
First, we'll go over the defensive actions. We do not have any accommodations for this month, first time I think in several years. But we do have 3 defensive action report cases. The first one involves 2 reports filed for one individual. It's a 23-year-old male, weight 6'6", 200 pounds, medium build. The individual was charged with disorderly conduct and obstructing governmental administration. When the officers were dealing with a fight situation and dealing with one of the suspects, another individual, this individual attempted to strike the individual that the other officer was taking into custody. The second officer came in and wrapped his arms around to detain him, and the other officer then took him down to the ground, handcuffed him, and was arrested with no further incident. They did call rescue to check him out for some minor scrapes. He refused medical attention, and he was not transported.
Joe, please move the mic slightly closer to you. There you go. Thank you, sir.
Can we hear me now?
Thank you, Joe.
The second defensive action report has 1 report filed. It has to do with a 19-year-old male, white, 5'8", 160 pounds, medium build. The individual was being interviewed in regards to a larceny case. When the officer responded to the residence, found an open door. He went inside. The person retreated into a back room where he closed the bedroom door. The officer drew his handgun, ordered the person to come out and show his hands, at which time he did. Gun was holstered and no further incident occurred.
What was the nature of the larceny? Do you remember that?
Somebody had reported that the individual stole something from somebody's vehicle and fled into the building. And the last one has 5 defensive action reports filed, one of which, in this case, is filed by an officer that has to do with a 62-year-old male. Officers are investigating a domestic situation where threats were made to family members. When officers responded, a vehicle left the location. They stopped the vehicle. The vehicle supposedly had some weapons on it. When they stopped the vehicle, they found that the operator was not the suspect in question, but a relative that was leaving. That person was then released. Officers then responded back to the residence, at which time, as most of you are aware, took on gunfire from an individual inside the residence. 4 officers drew their firearms and or the ARs from their vehicles, one of which actually fired around back at the suspect. As you all know, that investigation is still going on. The individual was eventually transported to a area hospital where he's still in critical but stable condition. And that's what I have for you.
Well, I just want to thank your department for your responsiveness in connection with that incident and protecting the public from what could have been a much more serious event. So Chief, thank you very much. And I extend my gratitude to all the members of your department.
I will, thank you very much.
And Joe, you didn't get any accommodation letters for the same. It was very early on the morning of October 24th. Protocols obviously were being followed in the very beginning. You contacted supervisors in it. You then contacted me, made us aware of the situation, and also I noted that it has a very constant scene. So all the officers that responded, and I think the response was appropriate, closing down the roads. I know you brought in fire, you brought in ambulance, the commandeering of a couple parking lots worked out very, very well. So I appreciate you reaching out to the business owner and also to the school, and you had their full cooperation, and I appreciate it. The plan that you have laid out worked.
Yes, training definitely pays off in an incident like this, and the officers did a phenomenal job. Professionalism, being calm. Obviously, the investigation is continuing, working with the attorney's office, state police as well. And, reviewing some of the tape and things that go into a case like this, from our dispatcher right through to every member at the scene while, having gunfire, the cars were damaged from gunfire, but the officers were hiding behind, taking cover behind it was just phenomenal to hear that on the radio with such calm voices and staying professional. And I'm very proud of that as well. We had great cooperation, as we always do in a situation like this, from the state police, the sheriff's department, the Swedish police, the fire department rescue, town of Newburgh came out to assist. We had gunfire, like I said, pretty much from everywhere to assist. Town of Roy assisted with some closing roads. As you mentioned, the local business, you mentioned Tim Copeland from Copeland Funeral Home. We actually used his location of the funeral home as a command post, which was phenomenal. It was a cold morning with the number of personnel that was there, having a building to use in a situation like this where we actually had a command post negotiated set up and just officers coming from the cold. We will have community, brought out breakfast for all the members that were there. So I can't, say enough for the cooperation that goes on with our community, and it's a great thing.
And also, you and I did speak later that night, we were still on scene 14 hours later. I also appreciate the relationship we had, apparently a very good relationship up in the DA's office, and the communications that felt were excellent that you guys got out. They were very, very well written and handled very properly, and the investigation from what you told me seems to be appropriate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
So thank you, thank you. So I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session and we go in with the chief.
Second.
And this is for a personnel, executive session for a matter of personnel.
Any discussion?
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you very much. We will not be long. From executive session is no decision was, no action was taken. If no one has any other questions or comments for the police chief, I'd like to make a motion.
Close the meeting?
That's exactly it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you.
Good night.
You know, the only thing, before you leave real quick, we might change the December 17th meeting, which would be the meeting before we'd have the police commission too. So if we do that, later on, we'll get in touch with you tomorrow, okay? I don't know if we'll do it the first week of the month, we have to see.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, so we're gonna open the public hearing. Actually, right, yeah, public hearing.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna well, it's still open, right?
Well,
It's a
we-
continuation.
Continuation of the public hearing on Chapter 82 on flood damage prevention. So this is on the Chapter 82.
Okay, so my understanding is that the Ulster County Planning Board has circulated a letter that's dated November,
Just dated a few days ago.
Fourth.
well, it says date review.
It was received today, I believe,
It's
correct?
probably today,
Yep.
maybe
Yeah.
today.
Received today.
From the Ulster County Planning Board, my understanding is that these comments are advisory, to the extent that they were just received today. I think that we should take maybe a week or so and just have an opportunity to review them in a little more detail. I am not troubled by some of these comments. I think the most critical one is a comment about why we eliminated a specific zone, which is an AO zone. We have Dave Clauser here that can comment on that. I see that the county planning board did,
And actually, I'm sorry, Dave, would you like to come up and join us here? Dave Clauser, so everyone knows, is
why don't we just address the
our
AO?
town engineer. And this is, again, Dave, we're doing the Chapter 82 flood damage prevention. And just, do you have a copy of the comments there from? Yeah.
So Dave, the comment was, essentially when they addressed these issues, they said they recognize that portions of the existing statute are unduly restrictive. Portions of the existing statute represent prudent avoidance. Some of what the community is considering would not be viewed as consistent with what those most acquainted with the regulation of floodplains would consider as best practices. I think referring to AO, and I'm going to let you get to that. And then basically they talk about some measures within the statute actually go beyond the minimum standards that are required under the flood insurance protection plan. In any event, if you could comment on the AO piece first, because that seemed to be most important to the planning board.
Okay, the AO zone is a zone that is in the floodplain that has flood depths of 1 to 3 feet. It's usually on sloping land. It's one of the categories of floodplain land. There were no AO zones mapped in the New Paltz community mapping panels, mapping. So the DEC advisor on floodplains suggested to Stacy that those be removed. There probably are AO zones out there, small areas that are sloped that will be inundated 1 to 3 feet at the 100-year flood. But his suggestion was to take those out to eliminate any confusion. Someone that's looking for an AO zone, they just won't find it on the community maps. I don't know if the county understood that or not, but that was the reasoning why they were taken out.
All right, so again, based upon a specific recommendation from the DEC.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Dave, any other points that you would like to discuss relative to the letter?
Well, I looked through it. I think it was really good comments that came from the county, good suggestions to consider in the future as the zoning may be changed. There are some comments about density out there, that, that's a zoning matter, that's not anything to do with floodplains as such. There were several comments that are, I would say, easily answered, and I think taking a week or so to be able to answer those makes some sense, but I see nothing here that certainly wasn't considered when floodplain amendments was put together.
Okay. All right, anybody else have any questions for Dave about the comments?
Nope. And Kitty, did you have comments for
Well,
floodplain A2?
Well, it's now public comment.
Yeah, it's public comment. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was asking.
Nothing else for Dave, though? From the board? Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Actually, I have some questions for Dave, so if you don't mind. As you know, I have been emailing all of you asking which interested agencies you had asked to comment on the amended floodplains laws, and that those comments be posted on the website when received. One council member was kind enough to inform me that just today you did receive comments from the Ulster County Planning Board, but as of 2 p.m., no new documents had been posted. At about 3 p.m., the link to the floodplain hearing disappeared from your website, as I wrote to all of you. At about 5:30 p.m., it reappeared, and I hope that you will consider the recommendations of the UCPB, especially as they apply to providing for the safety of emergency personnel and working with New York Rising to achieve the best possible floodplain ordinance. I do want to thank you for also posting the list of involved agencies, and suggest that you also include neighboring municipalities, especially our neighboring village of New Paltz, which will share any major flood damage that the town floodplains experience. It seems prudent to coordinate our planning, as we will be sharing emergency services and emergency housing with the village. I also direct your attention to the article in today's New Paltz Times about a flood awareness project conducted by a local Boy Scout, Alex Diantra, and ask that it be included in the public record. This young man has compiled an impressive amount of data on safety measures for people in our floodplains, and you might want to consider inviting him to a future meeting to share his insights on flood survival. Thank you also for posting the comments from the Town Planning Board. I have reached out to Chair Calamano asking that they be amended, as I don't think the statement attributed to me accurately reflects my remarks, which I will forward to the clerk to be included in your official records of this hearing. Thank you also for posting the EAFs for each of the proposed changes, and I do ask for clarification on why so many questions are left unanswered. Councilman Barry read the EAF aloud, but it appears that some council members did not have hard copies and were therefore unable to see which questions the councilman described as not applicable or relevant. So I hope tonight that your consultant who helped prepare the EAF, or perhaps you yourselves, can explain why questions 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11 were not marked at all, even if they are not considered applicable. And given that the American Planning Association states that the comprehensive plan is one of the valuable features of zoning laws from the point of view of equity, obviously the benefit of comprehensiveness can be lost in the amended process. Though individually proposed amendments can, of course, conform to a comprehensive plan, far too many are, in fact, adopted without sufficient awareness or consideration of planning principles. Evaluation of proposed changes is often dominated by politics and personalities, and this is from the American Planning Association. I think for the purpose of applying the highest standards of due diligence to your deliberations, it would be good for you to help us understand why you felt you did not need to show consistency with our master plan. Also, could you explain for the record how you came to the conclusion that removing road and driveway access restrictions would not create a hazard to human health, as you indicated in one of your answers? And this was before you received responses from any of our fire, police, or rescue departments. I understand from the documents you posted today that you will resume discussions on December 17th. That's what was posted on your website. And I thank you all for your time and consideration. So I don't know if this is the time to explain why the master plan box was not marked.
Well, it's public comment period. Do you want to do it later after other people have the opportunity to speak?
Does she want responses from Dave?
I don't know who she wants responses from.
I can respond to one, Kitty. Every single board member was provided copies of the law. It was up to them if they wished to bring it, and everyone was provided copies of the EAF form. And it was up to their choice whether they wanted to bring them to the meeting or not. Dave can answer further. Under the new CEQA process, it is streamlined. Unlike when you and I were on the board, you had to read every question.
Okay, go ahead.
You had to read every question and answer every question. Under the new CEQA process, the form is changed, and if it is not applicable to that particular application, you don't respond to the question.
So you don't even have to mark the box, yes or
There-
no?
That's correct. The new form, I don't have one in front of me, but it's,
I have it.
oh, if I could see that.
Or no, Dave, I might even, no, I don't know if I have one or not.
Kitty's going to give it to him.
They have changed the CEQA process in an effort to try to make it a more user-friendly process.
I was thinking of the part one of this form, there's a box that is checked if it's an amendment, and if it is an amendment to a law, you don't have to check any of the other boxes on the part one.
But some of them are checked.
They're not necessary. I can show you that. It says if yes, attach a narrative description of the intent of the proposed action of the environmental resources that may be affected in the municipality and proceed to part two. If no, continue to question two. So if you check yes here, none of these boxes get checked.
Oh. One of the nice things about retiring from the town board is that I can now go to my book club meeting. So I'm sorry I don't mean to be rude, but it started at 7.
Did anyone else have any comments on the Chapter 82 flood damage
Just go up to
prevention? Sure, yes, sir.
My name is Mike Ellis, and I live on Springfield. I'd like to present you with a possible scenario. Let's say my wife and I want to move to Atlanta to be close to our grandkids. So we put our house on the water.
A little closer.
Let's say my wife and I want to move to Atlanta to be close to our grandkids, so we put our house on the market. We have a nice house on Springtown, plenty of room, a couple of acres, a large barn and some other buildings, with a view of the Gunks and of the Skytop Tower at Mohawk. It should be pretty appealing to a whole range of potential buyers. But I'm an honest guy, and if someone expresses an interest in buying our house, I would be compelled to explain to them that under current law, if the house is substantially damaged, they do not have a clear right to rebuild it. And this is true even if the insurance company is standing there with a check. However, I might add, if you go up the road a mile and a half to Rosendale, you would not have this harsh possibility facing you. Nor would you have it if you looked in Gardner or any of the other communities in the area. In fact, nowhere else in Newport would you be facing this kind of possibility. So a potential buyer in that situation would most likely say, you're telling me I'd be a fool to buy your house. And I would have to agree. But let me take it one step further. Let's suppose that the potential buyer says, look, it's a really nice house, and I have a bank willing to lend me a substantial portion of the purchase price. So I won't have much cash in the deal, so I'm willing to take the risk. But would a bank really want to get involved in a situation like this? When the banks wake up to the possible consequences of this law and realize that the equity securing the loan, the value of the home could be wiped out, they will almost certainly be unwilling to make a loan. This also applies to any of us who have a mortgage and want to refinance. Essentially, you are redlining the Springtown area, telling banks that this is not an area in which you want to make a loan. But the really lethal potential consequence of the current law is the following. Let's say one of us in Springtown paid $400,000 for their house. and was able to borrow 80% of the purchase price. So they put up $80,000, borrowed $320,000. Let's also imagine that next week a tree falls on the house, causing substantial damage, fire starts, and the damage is $201,000, just over 50% of the pre-damage purchase price. Insurance company is willing to pay. The owner goes to the appeals board, goes through the arduous process of trying to get a variance, and it is an arduous, time-consuming process. They might be living in $299 in a motel during this whole time. And despite going through this process, the board denies them the variance. So in that case, all of the $201,000 insurance proceeds would go to the bank. The bank is out, still out $119,000. The homeowner walks away having lost its total $80,000 investment. But then it gets worse, because New York is not a non-recourse state, which means that the bank can come after the homeowner for the balance of the loan. So the homeowner could be wiped out in this situation. He loses his house, he loses his investment, and he's being sued for $120,000. So what the law in its present form accomplishes is the following. It makes it extremely difficult for me to sell my home. It prevents someone foolish enough to want to buy it from being able to finance his purchase. It prevents me from refinancing my loan. And most seriously, if my home suffers substantial damage, I could lose the right to rebuild, lose my entire investment, and be sued by a bank for any shortfall between the mortgage and the insurance proceeds. And then, of course, it might lead to a blighted area of abandoned houses and the loss of thousands and thousands of tax dollars to the town. But luckily, the solution is actually quite simple. Amend the law to eliminate the access restrictions, and all these dire possibilities disappear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Caroline Paulson of Springtown Road. I would like to talk about what it's like to live across the street from one of these deserted homes. I have been doing that for almost 4.5 years now. The home I'm talking about was owned by the Adams Piano guy. He had purchased it a couple of years before this law was passed for quite a high price. When Irene and Lee came through, he decided he was going to get rid of it. He was just going to walk away, which he did. It would not have taken all that much to fix the house at that time, but he told me that this law had made it less than, there was absolutely no point in him sticking by his house because he knew he had paid too much and he knew that the law had made the house worth very little. So he left. The house had been sitting there with the mold growing, and I live pretty far back. It doesn't affect me all that much, but two older ladies that I am extremely fond of, they are like family to me, are living quite close by. And believe me, it has been very scary for them. There have been vandals going in, they've taken everything out. Strange things go on, lights go on and off. Weird stuff goes on there. It's, squatter's dream. And once in a while I've seen it too. Anyhow, it's extremely painful to me, the idea. If there were little kids living around, boy, you would have been hearing it from me about the perils of that house. Originally, that house was owned by Al Hart. He put a lot of work in making it a very fantastic, marvelous place. He was good at stained glass, and he put stained glass windows all over the place, which people stole. And his kids live mostly in North Carolina now. So I saw one of them, they came up and they snuck into the house to see what had come of their childhood home. And it was truly horrifying what they described to me. You really ought to go in there and climb in there yourself and see what this law is creating. Of course, it's been in foreclosure for 4.5 years. But the bank has no motivation whatsoever to finish the foreclosure off. All that would happen is it's just liabilities for it. So these people come and they mow a certain portion around the house which is required, and they take pictures of the house, and then they leave. And that's the bank's obligation to that house. And this foreclosure is going on and on and on and on. And this is what this law has created for me and my very dear little old ladies. I haven't talked about it before so much because I don't like the idea of talking about what other people have told me, and particularly what older lady friends have told me. But I think you should know that this is what this is creating. And all this business, I see these documents about, the risk of first responders. This is a risk that is imaginary. My God, this is something that doesn't happen. But those deserted houses are there, they are present, they are an ongoing safety concern that you really need to fix.
Anybody else?
Anybody else like to speak?
Okay.
So, can we close the public hearing tonight? We don't have to keep it open anymore, do we?
We are awaiting for comments from,
Why don't we keep it open for
Keep it open.
purposes of receiving the final comments from
Okay.
service providers?
from service providers. So I would make a motion that we close for tonight.
No, we wouldn't do, we just. we
Just for
don't do
tonight, I'll
that.
just leave it open?
No, we don't make
You don't
motions.
want to reopen it?
To the floodplain, or is it?
We're just doing floodplain right now.
This is flood damage, and then floodplain
We'll do
is,
that- we'll do that
that's
floodplain.
chapter 140-19.
Okay, so we don't have to make any motion other than to continue. Keep the public hearing to the next scheduled
Don't wanna
meeting,
close
which
it.
we'll determine a little bit later tonight,
Okay,
okay?
next section.
So we will have, okay, so,
The next section is floodplain district, which is chapter 140-19.
does anybody want to speak? Okay, so what time is it right now?
It is 7:32.
So we can move on to the next one. Public hearing 121 for subdivision of land. Does anybody want to speak to that one? Okay, so then we can keep the public hearing open to a determined day in the next couple of weeks. I mean, unless we want to try to do that right now. We have a meeting on the 17th. I'm gonna be asking, but I'm gonna be asking the board to, well, okay, I wanna try to do this stuff on the first, can I do the first? I don't know if I can be.
We actually may be,
Yeah.
the first is going to be
Yeah,
Village Hall.
And I don't know if I can be here on the first.
We have a meeting that we may be proposing for the second week of December.
Yeah, I might be asking the board to potentially move the meeting on the 17th to the week before.
Why can't we do it the week of December 2nd?
7th, but if we do it, it has to be the 7th.
Actually, no, it would be the
8th,
8th would be a date I would like to propose for a meeting.
Yeah, if we could,
Are they still having the ZBA meeting?
I was there, and it didn't sound like they had any business.
Not only biz, but also I didn't know if they were going to be able to form a quorum, to be honest with you. There was they had a party, so what we will do is, I think we will be doing one for the 8th, and if the ZBA needs, they can use an auxiliary office,
So
so
you want to set it for the 8th?
I'd like to set a meeting for December 8th, and we may have some other business to be used for that evening too, to be
Well,
honest.
we'll see, because what I might try to do is move the meeting from the 17th to the 8th, and make that our formal meeting for December,
Okay,
potentially, unless there's something we have to.
so
Do-
for now, December 8th will be a special meeting for floodplain, but maybe
No, there will be some other additional requests this evening for December 8th.
Hopefully, that's the plan. Hopefully, we'll have everything in from the emergency service providers, and we could shut the floodplain, we can shut the public hearing down that night, and we could actually take action that night on this. That is the intent.
Could you explain when you say emergency services providers? I mean, emergency service providers, even if there were no one living on Springtown Road, it being a county road, if for steps you had to put up a barricade, or there happened to be water across the road and someone drove around the barricade or into the water, as have been the only times that first responders have needed to come out there, that would be the case if there was one resident out there. So what does What do first responders or emergency services have to do with changing?
Well, just-
I can answer that. We're just following the necessary protocol in order to complete the public hearing process and to complete the process by which we're required to put people on notice and look for comments. So that's what we're trying to do.
And we're anticipating in the past, just because I was here with in the last round, when the law was written, the emergency services, which is fire, ambulance, and police, they will make some comments along the lines of where they will park their vehicles in preparation for a flood. They do station some vehicles west of the Walkill. They just want to comment that they will be doing that. Usually the comments, and Dave, let me know if this is true, usually the comments are, this is what we've been doing for 100 years, and this is what we'll be doing for the next 100 years. So to your point, it's usually not, but we just want to ensure, to Kevin's point, that we're following the full procedure, and that if there is any new or special comments, that they are noted onto the record.
Technically, we don't, it's not legal that we have to wait to get that stuff from them, but it is better for us to reach out to them and get the stuff, and so it's best for us to do everything we can to protect the board from potential lawsuit, so if we do get sued, we can hopefully be assured that we win. Because I would like to close this out tonight too, and so you guys don't have to come back again.
Does someone else want to make a public comment? If you have one more public comment, if you'd like to come up and make it, or?
I wanted to ask a question. What happens if you don't vote on December 8th?
Well, we intend to vote on December 8th. That's our intention, to vote on December 8th. There's no.
I know, but it was your intention to vote tonight too, and others too.
All I can say
I'm
is,
just concerned that, you know, there's been some elections, there'll be new board members. Do we have to start all over, or?
Well, that's why we're hopefully
can I
going to
just
December
ask
8th.
you, ma'am, just be patient for a little bit longer, please. We're really doing our best here, okay? Would you do that? And then December 8th, I think we'll be finished with this.
Also, to that point as well, and I don't at all expect us to go to the next board, we wouldn't have to restart the process, right? We would just
No.
continue from there.
No,
So
just
there wouldn't be an issue with
I
that.
know, but before there's a vote, there'd be a whole new people to explain.
I'm not anticipating that, I just wanted to let you know we wouldn't have to restart the
No,
process.
but I understand your concern, because it's new people, and they might they might feel that they need to be educated, and then you guys have to come back over and over and over again to educate the new people. And, you know, I wish we were voting tonight. I tried to push it as much as I could to get a vote tonight, but to put us on sound legal ground in case after we vote and everything has a positive outcome, and there would be a potential lawsuit, we're just doing what we have to do to make sure that you don't have to find yourself on the losing end of a lawsuit and have to start all over again. So, and because I'm not 100% sure I can be here on the 17th, that's why I asked the board to make a special meeting on the 8th, so I can hopefully be here.
Okay?
Okay?
All right.
All right, so,
Are you done? I don't want to interrupt you.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
One
Roseanne?
second, I'm sorry, Frank?
I got up before. I feel like the oldest man in the room. But I'm probably not. We won't have any contests about age. But I agree with Susan, but the question is, when? When, you know?
we would fully anticipate, Frank, December.
Susan and I went out with little flyers to everybody, put in their mailboxes, because someone on the board said, tonight's the vote. That was 2 or 3 meetings ago. And this is really wearing on, Marty.
You know, we have asked for letters. I believe Rosanna sent out a request for letters from fire, rescue, and police. I believe she has received one from police. I don't know if she has yet received them for fire or rescue.
They just picked them up from the mail yesterday, so I don't know that they've had time to.
Well,
You don't have one yet from Chief
I don't
Snyder?
want to, I think,
I have a response.
Yes,
from
yes,
Snyder,
yes.
but he had no.
December
objection.
8th, Frank.
Yeah, I didn't know if
December
that was
8th.
the only one you
That
had.
was the only one I received, yes.
So we're waiting for 2 more responses. But Frank, we don't, I don't control when those requests go out.
I'm here.
It's legal, but he said to wait. I spoke to
I
Joe
can't
today.
guarantee I'm gonna be here.
And wait, I've got to wait, yeah.
Can you vote in it, says you can't be here?
No, unfortunately, I can't.
I think this board supports the amendments the way they've been written. We're going to have some further discussions, but December 8th, I'm very confident that this will be resolved.
There has been no other questions raised by any of the board members here that indicate that anyone has any adverse reaction to the changes we've made.
Well, let's-
And all we are waiting for is, again, the responses from the emergency services, which we have done in the past with this law, just to ensure that we do have everything complete should there ever be a challenge to this law, because this law has been challenged in the past, both at the first level and then through the appellate division. So it has passed always, we have always won, but we want to ensure, should someone choose to bring it to court again, that we have done all full due diligence. And that comes under the advice of attorneys, so.
But I would actually like to take a straw vote tonight to get a sense of where this board does feel about approving the amendments. So, Dan?
I have no major objection. I do want to make sure that we get that information back, and I had a great conversation with Dennis Doyle today, so I'd like to look at that documents more, but if we had to vote tonight, I would be in favor of it.
Marty?
If I had to vote tonight with the information I have, and Frank, I'm sorry, I would not want to see us vote tonight. I'm in favor of the modifications that are proposed, and then receive a letter from fire, police, or rescue to say, oh, wait, you shouldn't have done that because, and then if somebody brings a lawsuit, the defense of it is much more difficult should such a letter come. And we have no way of knowing what they'll say. We hope they're supportive so we can all put this behind us.
Okay. I hope that I will be here to vote to lift this burden from you guys that has been really unfairly placed on you.
I don't believe in straw votes.
I just wanted them to go
And your
home
vote's so
feeling.
questionable.
I wanted them to go home feeling comfortable that there were at least more than 3 votes.
Okay, is everybody all right?
Thank you. So, thank you very much. We'll just take a quick couple minutes here. Let everyone clear out, and we will start our next meeting. Order, November 19th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Stand for the pledge. Please stand for the pledge.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have to do a couple of additions to the agenda. I would like to add the Pilgrim Pipeline. I would like to add the architecture contract, a conversation on the municipal center.
Is that one, I'm sorry, is that one thing?
No, it's 2.
Oh.
It's 2 things, because one is an action on
Okay,
the
that's
contract,
fine.
and one is a conversation on the municipal center. 2 issues with the youth building, and then we'll do I don't know, well, we already agreed to move the meeting, to at least have a meeting on the 8th, right? We already did that.
Yep.
And I don't think I have anything else. Was there something? that you
I
had?
will be making a request for executive session, and I'd like to make the request be early, because
Okay.
we will be requiring Counselor
Okay, so.
Moriello
So
while he is
can
here.
we do the
and-
water district first, because I know there's a lot of people who are gonna want us to do that, as long as Stacy, where's Stacy? Are you okay if we do something before we get to you? Okay.
Okay.
So we'll do the water district first.
We don't need the order, we can, or wherever you, okay, the sooner than later, so we have.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'd like to do, I would like to add the purchase of a tub grinder.
I thought we already, didn't we do that?
No?
Kevin
wants more information, and we'll go
So add tub grinder, and even better news, it's going to cost us less and less. I think we're down to about 10% of retail value of the.
Well, because anytime Kevin asks to go back and sharpen one's pencil, it always gets sharpened.
Or we sent Laura chasing a grant, and she got a huge grant.
Okay,
So,
great.
and then I would like to also just have a very quick discussion while we have Stacy here also for approval of some legal and engineering for ag and markets discussion.
Okay, do I have a motion? Okay.
I just want to add that I just want to request that the town board authorize me to spend funds to work with Attorney Moriello on the HHS agreement for my records.
Okay, so
It should be very brief.
HHS.
Historical Huguenot Street, yeah.
Right, no. Okay, so do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
Can we move the municipal center and contract up to after the water district in sequence? We have Joe
well,
Moriello here.
Well, we'll see, but we also have Stacy, so we'll figure it all out as night progresses, but we'll do that all like very early on. But we also have Stacy who needs to go into executive session with us too.
Well, she
So-
may not be going, but that's
Well,
going.
okay, well, she's staying for, I asked her to stay for the purposes
Okay,
of
that's fine.
the personnel issue we have.
Yeah.
Okay, we would want Joe Morello in there also, so we'll make sure we try to get everything done so the people can all leave,
So
including us.
moved as amended?
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
so, public input? Anybody want to speak? Go ahead, Josh. Yes.
No.
Oh, let somebody else go first.
But
Anyone?
Just, go ahead.
I'll go first.
No, she won't let this young woman wants to go.
It's about pilgrims.
I know it's about Pilgrim, and I figured,
I have materials for you guys, should I give it?
Sure. Give them one, yeah.
I'll just tell you right now that we're gonna end up taking action, you'll be happy, but feel free to speak.
Okay, well, I'll leave it one. Yesterday, Pilgrim Holdings filed an
mind just saying
application.
your name for the record?
Oh, I'm Jess Mullen. Yesterday, Pilgrim Holdings filed an application with the Thruway Authority to construct 2 pipelines that will go through New Paltz, one carrying crude oil and one carrying refined products. In the materials here, you'll see a letter to you guys saying you will receive a letter extremely soon, you might have already received it, from the New York State Thruway Authority calling a lead agency coordination letter, called a lead agency coordination letter. In this letter, the Thruway Authority is asking to be the lead agency for the environmental review process for the Pilgrim Pipelines project. We are asking that you write back to say no to the Thruway Authority regarding their lead agency status. So we'd like a specific letter from the town of New Paltz saying that you do not want the Thruway Authority to be the lead agency. And in addition, we ask that you recommend the New York State DEC to be the lead agency for the environmental review process. And so, in the interest of time, you guys have all the information here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you coming out also on it. You might want to stay around to see what I hope we're able to do tonight, if the board will go along with what I already quoted to the Albany Times. So hopefully they will.
I don't know why we need a pipeline when all the, oil's so cheap in all the regions we're not going to benefit. So I'm hoping that we're going to oppose that. But I don't know if this is on.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to say a few words. As I said last night at the joint meeting, I've cut it down a whole bunch. But certainly after attending the town village meeting on the municipal space, even more into what I believe than I was last night because of the way things were going. So what I want to say is in terms of the municipal center is that I think the cleanest way to do it is to for it to be a town project and have the village rent their space if they're still interested. And the details of that agreement could be spelled out in a rental agreement. Why? The town already owns the land. We have to demolish and clean up the old building, which leads to the question if they're going to share it or not. When town first agreed to go forward on this project, it was a project that was under the assumption that this was going to be a town project. And we found out as we were investigating the bond issue and stuff like that that if we got into being partners and doing bonds, if anything happened to the village during that point, no matter what kind of bonds they did, in the end, the town would assume the village's debt. So if that could happen, we might as well be in charge of the whole thing and have it be our building. Also, because the way the state is going and trying to consolidate municipalities, I don't think the village will be around in another 10 years, whether they think so or not. So we get, that's why I think it should be a town project only, and the village should not be in control of it. The only thing they should have a say in is that if they decide to be renters, they should have control of their space and how they want to have it laid out.
Thanks, John.
Would anybody else like to speak during public comment?
Carol Cryer, Plains Road resident, once again. I just have a few quick questions. The first question is, according to the IGA's Exhibit B, the milestones that are on page 31 of the IGA, completion dates have been set for the various milestones on the groundwater system project. I wanted to know if these dates are firm or are they just given as a suggested or preferred dates? And can the DEP impose penalties on the town or claim default on the part of the town, thus nullifying the IGA if the deadlines aren't met? Is each milestone also, is it a prerequisite for the subsequent milestone that's shown on that schedule?
I mean, do you want to answer, Dave? I mean, I know there's some amendments were made to the milestones. I don't know if they were accepted or not by the DEP.
I would say if we could get this in writing, we'd certainly respond to it. I think right now it's kind of in the middle between the DEP. I don't think a decision has been made on that.
So I guess
So
the
you want her to send the thing in writing and then, okay.
Okay, all right.
So the first question is whether a milestone date is set in
Is firm.
stone,
Yeah,
right?
is it firm?
What degree of flexibility there is with that date? And does the DEP have the right to enforce that deadline strictly, therefore nullify their agreement? And what was the last one?
The last part is each milestone shown on
Okay.
that schedule,
Okay.
a prerequisite for the item that follows it on the schedule.
All right, so we'll get answers to this for you.
Okay. I'd also like to know, is the town as purchaser or David Roars as a seller of the property at 101 Plains Road responsible for obtaining the conservation easement? I know Jeff had talked about the possibility of getting a conservation easement on that property, and is that the responsibility of the town to get that, or is it the
It would be
responsibility of the seller?
It would be the responsibility of the town.
The town, okay, thank you. Okay. What compensation, if any, can a Plains Road community resident expect from the DEP or the town under the conditions that A, Water District 5 has been approved, but B, the construction has not yet been completed, if the resident's well pump or other well-related equipment fails and needs to be replaced?
I'm sorry, could you start that one more
It's
time?
Sure.
some people are talking, so it's a little hard to hear. Can you?
Okay.
Something-
What compensation, if any, can a Plains Road community resident expect from the DEP or the town under the condition that A, the Water District Number 5 has been approved, and that B, the construction has not yet begun, but that resident has to replace a well pump or well-related equipment during that interim, between the time that they are actually online with the municipal water?
And Carol, just so you know, I just received all these questions. There were, I believe, 9 total questions
Right.
with some sub. So they were just received through Tim, so you could forward them to me in the future too. It'll go a little quicker because I didn't get them from
Oh,
Tim
well,
till this afternoon. So, I mean, they're all for the town, but they went to the village.
Right,
So
well,
it went
no.
from you to Tim, then to me.
Right.
So I haven't had an opportunity. So these are all pieces that definitely we can answer and I want to answer.
Right.
And I can't answer them tonight. I mean, I was
Okay.
going through them.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I happened to go to the preparedness, emergency
The emergency
preparedness meeting, and Tim sat next to me, and we had a little discussion about the water district issue, and he asked to see the questions, and that's how they went to Tim, not circumventing.
No, it wasn't, I know
you
that, it's just,
in
it
any
had a
way.
little time, so it'll take us a good week or two to go through and answer them. You requested them in writing, a few, status of SEQA, and as you know, the SEQA review has begun. They're out collecting field data now, for example. So
Okay.
the SEQA process is begun. So there are a few in here I could answer pretty quickly, but
That's fine.
You
We
did
don't,
ask-
we don't need to go through the.
absolutely. So I do have them. I
All right,
haven't even
that's
had an
fine.
opportunity to circulate them to the board, because I got them late this afternoon, so
Okay.
we'll go through and answer them all.
I just have one more that I'd like
Sure.
to ask. If the petition regarding Water District number 5 meets the 51% assessment requirement and all signatures are deemed valid, what other criteria must be met before the petition is accepted and the water project moves forward? And also, when and by whom will the evaluation of that petition be completed? And this may be covered in further discussion.
We'll
as we
be
go on.
covering that a little bit
Okay.
later
All right.
tonight. Yep.
Fine, thank you.
Just in connection with your one question.
Yeah.
You're talking about any problem that a resident of the district would have with their existing system prior to going online.
Right.
So as part of the work that we did, Dave, was there a survey taken from any of the members of the district regarding their state of repair is, or what condition their system was in, whether it was new, old, used, or was there any data on that?
We monitored the water quality, but we really didn't do more than recognize systems that we saw in the household. But anyone that has a problem with their water system would be responsible for it until they're connected to the public water supply.
Even though,
As it is now.
right, even though the decision's been made that Water District will be established and everyone will be assumingly opting in, and they're just waiting for the construction to be completed and the actual hookup to take place, if they have to replace their pump during that period, then there'll be no compensation, essentially, that's what you're saying?
Has a distinction ever been drawn between that scenario and a scenario where maybe a homeowner could demonstrate by preponderance of the evidence that the damage was caused by someone other than their own use? Has that ever been considered? I mean, so you would put the burden on the homeowner to demonstrate that the replacement wasn't the result of normal use, but it was as a result of some negligence or purported negligence on the part of a third party. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that that would necessarily apply.
Okay.
Because the resident essentially would be making an additional investment in equipment that's considered obsolete because you're going onto a municipal system.
That's what I was thinking you were talking about,
Yeah.
exactly. That's an investment you have to make until.
Right.
If the
Into-
well pump or other well-related equipment fails
Now,
before this goes on.
Right.
They have to-
There would be some sort of compensation.
I mean,
go ahead, Dave.
Could I just say that a resident out there came to me just a few weeks ago and said that, I wish we could hook up now because I just had the pressure tank that went. It was a
Okay.
$500 bill, so.
Okay.
They really couldn't really think
All right,
of it.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Sue Weber. I live on Plains Road. I don't know if I should go into everything about the petition drive that's been going on Plains Road, but I think I will, because I don't know what you guys are going to talk about when you discuss this issue. So we have had a petition drive going on to establish a water district on Plains Road, and I had some people come to my house, and they said some things that I had never heard before and that were kind of upsetting, which was if the petition doesn't meet the 51% assessment requirement, that the DEP is going to go ahead and use the well, and there will be 22 houses that have been deemed their wells will be, impacted, and so they will get water bladders for the 3 10-week sessions, and nobody else will be, nothing else will happen with anybody else on the road. And I'm just wondering, is this true? They seem to think that was what was going to happen if the petition drive did not succeed. And what I'd like to know is, if that's true, then what are the 22 houses that you have designated, and why, and how were they chosen, and in what document is this stated and explained, and why have we not been, informed of this? The second question is, what is the status of the negotiations for the sale of the land on 101 Plains Road? And is it going to be the entire parcel that's going to be purchased by the town, or merely the acreage necessary for the well pump? As you said, you've got the list of things here, but I just want to say them for the record. What's the current status of SECRA? When will the public input requirement of the SECRA process take place? At one point, there was an answer, a document that you put out answering 40 questions, which some of the Plains Road community had. And I think at the last meeting, I was not there, but they said a couple of the answers to some of those questions had changed. Has the document been changed, and where is the amended document? Another question that was brought up last time was, if a water district is created, how long will the residents not receive water bills? And there was an issue that Jeff said he would go back to DEP and talk to them about it. We would be interested to know what your answers are to those questions. And if someone opts out of the municipal water, if there is a water district, will they still have to contribute to the water district costs from day one? Or will those costs, if any, be incurred only after the DEP subsidy period has expired? If someone chooses to opt in after the initial offer, will they be entitled to the DEP subsidy or any prorated portion thereof? For example, in the case of a 6-year subsidy, or maybe longer. If someone has chosen to opt out, then chooses to opt in after a year or so, will they be entitled to the remaining period of the subsidy? The next question is, has the maintenance agreement addendum to the original IMA been accepted and approved by both the village and the town? And when will the executed document be posted on the town's website? And I think that's the end of all the questions that we have, and you have a copy of those questions. So,
right. So yeah,
we appreciate the answers in writing within a few weeks. That would be great.
Yep, absolutely. So
Okay.
all of those, we just got them today, and it has your name on it, Susan, and it's
Right.
got Donna. It has your name, so if you have any questions, and Carol. So
Okay.
we will go through and we will answer them. Some of these will be answered tonight as we go through some of the process of this. One of them, I don't know. I can clear up one of them. I cleared it up with another resident. The property at 101 is in negotiation. We do not own it. It is owned by Dave Roars. So that's the condition of that. There's nothing, it's still a negotiation that's ongoing. And so we can't really discuss much about it. And all the other ones that you asked, for the most part, will be answered tonight. The ones that aren't, we will answer as needed. And then along with the 40 questions, that was last updated in September. If we have any that we feel need updating, we absolutely will go in and change them. But what is on there from September is accurate, and any changes to that we will post on there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Of course.
I'm Dale Monteleone, Plains Road. I had 2 questions. I can only remember one, so hopefully the other one will come back. But I live directly across the street from the well, and I've always had permission from Dave Roars to trim the pine trees so that it won't obstruct my beautiful view of the mountains. And one time, Susan, we had a candid conversation, and you suggested that the town would be able to trim the trees for me as time went on if the town owned the property. I actually have a concern about that. I don't want my property destroyed if I can't continue to trim those trees like I've been able to all these years. In fact, I haven't been able to do it the last couple of years, so I did put a message out to Dave just to make sure that I can trim them before the town takes over the property. So I'm wondering if I could get something in writing from the town to continue to have permission to trim those trees, unless, I don't think the town really wants
Again,
to trim them.
no, the 101 Plains Road is in negotiation. It's still held in Dave and Judy Rose's name.
I understand.
So the town can take no action on property for which it does not own
No,
at this
that's
time.
not what I'm saying. I'm saying when the town owns the property, can I be assured that I will still have permission to trim the trees so that my view is not obstructed?
Again, the town, and again, I don't know how to say it, maybe Joe could help me, we cannot make promises on land that we don't own. So we don't own the land. Maybe an attorney could help me here.
I would just say that I hear what you're requesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's premature for a board to discuss that. But I would say that after the acquisition piece is in place, they come back and renew your request to the town board. It doesn't seem to be an earth-shaking request.
Okay, thanks.
All right?
And if I remember the other one, I'll
Let us know.
Sounds good.
Ted Cryer, Plains Road, and my comment has nothing to do with the water district. So enjoy that. In some of the past meetings, you've mentioned a project or a study about traffic and speeding on some of the town roads, if I remember correctly. Okay. I bring this up because as I work out in the front yard, raking leaves and so on and so forth, people go by the road very quickly, very, very quickly. And last Saturday, someone was down at the corner of the intersection with Cedar Lane, literally revving their engine, and just like it was a drag strip heading north down the road. And worst scenario I've ever seen, but it's not uncommon to see people driving too fast. And sometimes when I'm walking the dogs, which is like every day, they don't even slow down when they see you. So I think everybody knows it's a very popular road for families to walk on, to bike on and stuff. So when you have the study, please include Plains Road. I'm sure you're going to, but after that one occurrence, I just wanted to make sure that you did.
And just since I live on there too, we unfortunately experience the same, even worse. The people get to the end and they realize it's a dead end, and hence why Chris is down there replacing those dead end signs frequently. So Joe, maybe you could help us on how speed limit works, how setting speed limits works on town roads.
I think it's more the enforcement.
I think we'll just refer this to Chief Schneider.
And they do
And
park.
they will send somebody out.
And there are several driveways that they have parked in. I won't tell people the driveways they have been using, but there are several driveways both on our end of the road and further up the road that they use. And I do know they ticket individuals. I'm sorry Joe left. He could give you the details, but what we'll do is we'll ask Joe to include us in his step details. We can get back on that. And Joe can maybe educate us later on, not this evening, but later on setting speed limits on town roads. There's unfortunately a lot of challenges to it, but enforcement is a big part of it.
But we are going for a grant through the county for some substantial transportation money, and to do the study on the roads and the traffic and the speeding on the roads and stuff. And the traffic engineer came and met with Joe Schneider, with Dave, with our transportation chair, Gail Gallery. I think, Stacy, you were there. Stacy was at the meeting, and you had a meeting to talk about, like, moving forward to try to do this study, right?
Right, Creighton Manning, person was down, Ken Morstead, who was the town's traffic engineer. We're trying to come up with a scope of a study to look at the roadways that are problems that keep showing up, and road is one.
Okay, yeah.
We're collecting data right now, trying to find out the number of times that a complaint has been made, so I would say your planning is good.
So basically, if we communicated with our neighbors and said, if you see something that concerns you, let someone know, and that would maybe help the field.
Well, this would be a good time, because again, like Dave said, we are, it was something that I wanted to do. I brought it to this board last year sometime, well, actually, when we were dealing with the Lent Drive, and they were consistently, complaining about that, and we dealt with it so much, but then, like I said, there's a lot of roads with a lot of problems, so let's say you take us on from a comprehensive perspective, and think, and luckily, things are working where there is an opportunity for a lot of money from the county to help us actually do this study and finally get a handle on what's going on these different roads and what options we do have to make changes. So that is happening right now.
And just so you know, what I will do then is tomorrow I'll make a request of Chief Schneider to bring out you guys see that portable sign with the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That actually is not just a sign for your entertainment, it collects data also. Even when you think it's not, it actually is collecting data.
I'm gonna slow down.
So,
can't do
it can't collect the data as far as license plates, but it will collect data. And so what I'll do is, so residents that are here, if you see the sign on there, that's why we'll have it out there, and we'll collect some data out there on Plains Road, and that will assist Dave and Creighton Manning and some others. So we will look. I experience it all the time too, as you know, at my end of it, and I know you get to hear the slamming brakes as we do. So.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Anybody
much.
else?
Thank you.
Is it 30 or 35?
We're 30.
You're
Okay.
at the state minimum now.
Okay, what, go ahead.
Chris?
Hi, Chris Harp, Plains Road, back to the water. I just have a question in regards to what has been done in regards to viewing the total cost. I know the DEP is going to be paying for this, but my question is, why perpetuality for this water district if we're only talking about less than total of a year's time, 30 weeks? I understand that this question was number 3 on your list of questions that you answered, the inconvenience to the homeowners to have a bladder put on the yard. But if we're talking about a constant need to maintain a system, what would be the greater cost of simply putting bladders on yards of the houses that need it for less than a year's worth of time versus perpetuity for a water district that would have to be constantly maintained? So anyway, has the total cost been explored to create the water district versus just putting water on lawns for less than a total year of time?
And Chris and Dave, feel free to join in on this. One of the big reasons is it gives us an opportunity to have a backup water supply to the whole community should there ever be something beyond a maintenance shutdown. So this actually is now becoming part of this and another well field that we have available to us in our community. We're in negotiations with another water site, the Turk property, that would also provide water to the whole community. So although its plan came to fruition to do a shutdown, several shutdowns, it's also now going to be a backup emergency water supply should there ever be any compromises or any problems with the New York City aqueduct. So this would be something that would make our community, to use the term that Susan's been using a lot of, which is resiliency. And she has spent a lot of her time on resiliency plans. So this gives us the ability to come completely off should something happen to the aqueduct system. We will then be self-supported.
We still have to supply the village with the requirements during that time frame. So where would that come from? That's just another.
But yeah, but that's what I'm saying, the time frame of 30 weeks
Still a
total
lot.
versus throwing this thing into a complete perpetuality of a water district.
There'd be bladders in everybody's yard.
Right, for a total of less than a year versus, I mean, I've been here for 27 years now and my well has never gone dry, et cetera. Now all of a sudden I'm looking at something that's gonna be, I consider the water to be my right and it's underneath my feet at my home. And I believe it's a right being taken away from me. It's just, how I feel.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak? Mike?
Good evening. My name is Mike Merriman. I came here for the other hearing, but I'm also a resident of Woodland Drive. And
I actually leaned over to Jeff and said, why is Mike still here? And he told me.
as far as Dale and the trees, the purpose for those trees originally being planted was a DEC permit requirement for the mine that Dave Roy's was operating. They insisted on a screening, natural screening on the road side of the mine. If the town takes over the property, especially if it takes over the whole property, and the mine is discontinued, there may be no longer a need to mandate that those trees be there. So, and it might be easier to negotiate once the town takes over the property. As far as the in perpetuity versus the 30 weeks, you're right, it feels odd that we're putting in this permanent solution to what you think is a 30-week problem. But the DEP has mandated that all of the municipalities on their aquifers, in particular the Village of New Paltz, must have a backup source of water in perpetuity, because the 3 or possibly 4 periods when they plan a shutdown are not the only thing they're planning for. They are concerned that these 100-year-old and longer aquifers, that if one or more of them break, it'll be unplanned, and it could be years for the village and other users where they need this backup water. So the idea is not just to bridge the 3 30-week periods, but to have a permanent backup source in perpetuity, because you never know, as we won't see it, but 100 years from now, those aquifers are going to be even more fragile, and the village is going to need a permanent backup source of water. So it's not, in that context, it makes...
The Wantagh River can be filtered to get,
Let's not get into that now.
provide water that is potable in the end, and it is a never-ending source.
I actually stood up not to add to those other 2 discussions, but just to find out what the notation on the agenda just simply says Water District Number 5. And I'm curious, what exactly is the board going to consider tonight about the water district?
What's coming next? We're going to be going
So-
through the petition process.
You are going to receive the petition? or you
We'll be
have
receiving the
received
petition.
All right,
Which
and
was
you're gonna
just received
discuss
by
it.
attorney.
Okay.
None of us have received it yet.
I'm
so-
just trying to find out
Yeah,
whether...
no,
I
that's-
should
Well,
stay.
as soon as public comment's done, that's the first thing on the agenda, so
Yeah.
if you want to
But
stay.
I wasn't sure whether there was going to be a vote tonight, or whether there was just going to be a receipt
No
of
vote,
something.
there will be no, so to speak, but
Okay.
you'll see. We have many things that have just been received within the last couple days. So we publish our agenda the previous week, so I made a prediction as much as I could.
Okay.
With what little information
All
I
right,
had.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Mike.
Mike.
Would anybody else like to speak? Sure?
Move on.
Okay, so we can actually go to the meeting. So the first thing on the agenda is Water District 5. So I'll turn it over to Jeff and the attorney.
Joe. Joe, I will first turn it over to Joe Moriello, who he was presented with, and he will go through it, the petition, which, how do you start with that, Joe?
Judging from the public comment, this isn't news anymore, it's history, I suppose. But, there has been presented to our office for purposes of notarizing the signatures of the subscribing witnesses, a petition for the establishment of Water District Number 5. Under the statute, that petition is supposed to be presented to the town board.
And then it gets presented to
the town board, and the town-
presented
over to the
town clerk.
To the town clerk. You can, certainly you can open it.
I will also indicate, though, before you open it, that it has, none of us have seen it. It has been sealed and signed and notarized, I believe, at Joe's office?
Right.
Yes.
But there's really no cloak and dagger business about that. The petition came, I got it. There really wasn't any way to get it to everybody here in time. And the statute says it's supposed to be presented to the town board. So rather than do a piecemeal, email something, have it over the airwaves. Trying to do it, right, oh, and you already did it, thank you. So the town board has it. The petition essentially has 48 signatories to it. Mr. Clauser has gotten information regarding the assessments in the area for all of the property owners, for all of the resident property owners, and he's done a calculation in terms of the numbers of signatures as required under the statute. I will say to you that essentially, and Mike Merriman just asked what might happen next. The only thing that really can happen from the board's point of view under the statute is when you are presented with a petition for the establishment of a special district, the statute says the board shall adopt a resolution or an order calling a public hearing. So, and it's at the public hearing that the board makes or listens to, obviously, whatever comes from members of the public. And it also will start to look at the petition, make determinations about it as to its sufficiency with the number of signers and the rest of it. So tonight is really, for instance, not the time to make a determination as to whether or not the numbers of signatures are sufficient in this petition to set a public hearing. I think the statute requires that you set a public hearing, and then that determination, along with other determinations, is all part of the public hearing process.
So the action we should take tonight is setting a public hearing.
The board,
Because it's mandatory, it says shall.
Yeah, we do a,
The statute says shall, and so I think you.
yep, that's why.
Shall, shall always means must. May is something different. I have sent over to Rosanna, as I assume all the board members got them by email. If not, I have additional copies here of a proposed resolution for an order calling a public hearing. There is also an order calling a public hearing that says essentially the same thing, but that gets signed by the board members who are in favor, and then Rosanna would publish that order in the paper. It's essentially like a notice of public hearing, but in the statute it's called an order, and it takes a little different form, but that is an order for a public hearing. If the board is going to entertain that, and I think that it should, in fact, I think that it must, the public hearing has to be held not sooner than 10 days and not more than 20 days following the first publication of the notice. So for calendaring purposes, my suggestion is that although I believe the paper will come out, I'm assuming it comes out Thursday, which is Thanksgiving Day.
No, Terrence, it'll be out Wednesday.
Some places it's Wednesday.
It'll be out Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday is their date because of the holiday.
My suggestion would be
Yes.
that you consider maybe the first publication would be Friday the 27th, and that you count from there. So your public hearing would have to be sometime after December 7th and before Thursday the 17th.
So, we already.
How many newspapers, how many times?
Once in the official newspaper.
No, the 8th is the date after the 7th.
Provides for publication in the New Paltz Times.
All right, so.
So I have
And on the town clerk's bulletin board. And if the town has a website, the statute says it may put the information on the website as
Carol,
well, which I would recommend.
We already put everything on the website,
So-
so there is
So
nothing
we
that is
already-
not on the website.
We already do that.
So don't we have to know what date it's gonna be published?
We do know, we do know.
Well, but the paper's coming out Tuesday.
And Roseanne,
It always comes out Wednesday. You can buy
It always comes out Wednesday night.
So you need.
Are we gonna count from
exclusive of Wednesday.
So are we gonna start Tuesday or Wednesday?
I would say you're gonna start Wednesday.
Okay, so we'll start Wednesday.
we already
So you're
did,
gonna count
From
10
then.
days.
No sooner than.
Well, if you know for certain that it gets published on Wednesday, then that will be the first publication. Is that when they publish?
That's when the paper
It's
comes
gonna
out.
publish
It comes out
Wednesday,
Wednesday,
Thanksgiving
time
week.
Then you count from
so
Wednesday.
here, right here. We did the math, so if you start November
10 days, so that includes Thanksgiving.
and no more, it includes
So it's no sooner than
the 7th,
the 7th.
so
So we
that's what
can't
makes
do the
December 8th.
So we can do it
So
on
let's do it
the
the
8th.
8th.
That's
We already
why we
have
set
a,
the 8th before.
So,
So I can make, if everyone's ready or has a question, anyone on the board of Joe? we can make a resolution for the public hearing regarding the petition of Plains Road area residents for the establishment of Water District Number 5.
Now, the petition itself, the copies of the petition, I made at least a couple.
And then this is the actual, for those of you here, this is the actual public notice that will be, don't sign this one, we will distribute one, Roseanne, we will distribute one and give it to Roseanne tonight that we will sign. Yes. Yes, I was gonna read the resolution. So the resolution, and Roseanne, you have a copy of the resolution?
Wait,
You do, you have a copy.
so wait a second, there's some extra copies here.
That's very possible that, yeah.
Yeah, we have a couple extra copies of everything.
That's fine, yeah, I made some extra ones, yeah. Here, there's some extras. So, a resolution calling public hearing regarding the petition of Plains Road area residents for the establishment of Water District 5. And, one, I would like to say thank you to the residents that worked very hard on this. Some of you were here. Dave and Carol Rosenberg, I know, worked very, very hard on establishing and going out and speaking to many members of the public. Tom, Doris Van Tassel were also very instrumental in getting out and speaking to the public and speaking to the residents on it. We had Roy and Barbara Speedling were very consistent about going out and speaking to everyone in the public. I don't want to leave out any of our elected officials here. We have Tim Rogers here. I know hi Tim, who is very appreciative of everything that was done because it will be the village that is the beneficiary of this, along with all of the resident homes in the area. Dave Clauser, who is both our engineer and the engineer for the DEP on this project. Russell Urban Mead, many of you will remember, is the hydrologist that has huge parts of the meeting. Also, I will thank, he just walked in, Tom Rocco, also, who is the village liaison, as I am the town liaison to the DEP. Tom Rocco is the liaison for the village, who has carried a tremendous amount of weight on this. We also have Dan Mashad, who walked in from the DEP, has been very, very instrumental in, he is our contact with the DEP here. Also Dan's counterpart, and I believe also boss, which is Todd West, has also been very critical in this. And Attorney Joe Moriello, when this first started, back in mere January, a few months ago, and how far we have come is absolutely incredible. So I really want to thank everyone that's been so helpful in getting this done and getting the information out. So the resolution calling for a public hearing regarding the petition that we have received on Plains Road area residents for the establishment of Water District Number 5 at a regular meeting of the Town Board of the Town of New Paltz, Ulster County, New York, held at the Town Hall in New Paltz, New York, in said town on the, thank you, 19th day of November, thank you very much. At 2015 at 8:51 o'clock prevailing time. The meeting was called to order by Council Member Barry. And upon roll being called, the following roll was taken. And Roseanne, can you do the roll?
Supervisor Susan Bennett?
Aye.
No, present.
Present, I'm sorry. Jumping the gun.
Councilmember Jeffrey Logan?
Present.
Councilmember Kevin Barry?
Present.
Councilmember Dan Torres?
Present.
And Councilmember Marty Irwin?
Present.
Okay. The following resolution was offered by Councilmember Logan, who moved its adoption, and I would ask for a second.
Second. Sorry, I'll withdraw my second. Go ahead. Go ahead, Dan.
Second.
Mr. Torres. Whereas a written petition dated as of November 18th, 2015 has been submitted in due form by 48 property owners in the Plains Road area of New Paltz pursuant to Article 12 of the New York Town Law, which has been presented and filed with the Town Board of the Town of New Paltz, County of Ulster, New York, for the establishment of a town water district to be known as Water District Number 5, which is bounded and described on Exhibit A, attached thereto, and now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of New Paltz that A public hearing be, and the same hereby is called by adoption of the order for public hearing bearing even date herewithin to consider the proposed Water District 5 of the town of New Paltz pursuant to Section 193 of the Town Law of the State of New York. B, the town clerk shall give notice of said hearing by publication of said order, certified by the town clerk in the New Paltz Times, the official newspaper of the town, at least 10 days and not more than 20 days before the date set therein for the hearing as aforesaid, and shall also post a copy of said order on the signboard of the town, maintained pursuant to Section 30 of the town law, at least 10 days and not more than 20 days before the date designated for the hearing aforesaid. C, prior to such publication, there shall be on file for public inspection with the town clerk a detailed explanation of how the estimated cost of hookup fees, if any, to, and the cost of the district or extension to, the typical property, and, if different, how the typical one or two family home was computed, which cost pursuant to town law, section 193, 2C, shall include operation, maintenance, user charges, and other charges related to the improvement in the first year following formation of the district. The question of the adoption of the foregoing resolution and appended order was duly put to a vote on roll call, which resulted in the following.
Supervisor Zimmer?
Aye.
Councilmember Logan?
Aye.
Councilmember Barry?
Aye.
Councilmember Torres?
Aye.
Councilmember Irwin?
Aye.
The resolution was thereby duly adopted. So also what we have then is the second one is, yep, is the, right, Joe, is the order? The order for a public hearing. So present, we do have Supervisor Susan Zimmett, Council Member Jeffrey Logan, Council Member Kevin Barry, Council Member Daniel Torres, Council Member Marty Irwin in the matter of establishment Water District Number 5 in the town of New Paltz in the county of Ulster, New York. Whereas a written petition dated as of November 18th, 2015 has been submitted in due form by 48 property owners in the Plains Road area of New Paltz containing the required signatures, which has been presented and filed with the town board of the town of New Paltz, county of Ulster, New York, for the establishment of town water district to be known as Water District Number 5, which is bounded and described on Exhibit A attached thereto. And whereas the improvements proposed consist of the construction and maintenance of a water system to serve said extension in the district in accordance with a certain map and a plan described prepared by Dave Clauser and Associates, made part of such petition and on file in the office of the town clerk of said town. And whereas it is the understanding and intention of the petitioners that the town will construct the system initially at its own expense, which will be reimbursed by the City of New York Department of Environmental Protection, thereas known DEP, pursuant to a separate intergovernmental agreement heretofore adopted by this town board, so that no expense occasioned by the creation of said district herein petitioned shall be levied and collected from the several lots and parcels of lands within the said district by assessment or otherwise, and any and all of such work will be done and completed by said DEP in accordance with the map and plan described in the petition, and that the town will accept title thereto by itself or by the governmental agent for said district, free and clear of encumbrances except right of access to said improvements by adjoining landowners when completed pursuant to said agreement with DEP. And whereas the maximum amount proposed to be expended for the construction of the proposed water system is estimated to be $2,375,000, and after reimbursement of all eligible expenses from DEP is $0. The future expense of hookup fees for users of the proposed water system shall additionally be paid by the DEP at no cost to the town or to the users within the district. that the DEP shall additionally provide the sum of $125,000 to cover the cost of maintenance and operation following the formation of the district and thereafter. The estimated cost to the average user is estimated to be approximately $18 per month, $216 per year, based upon a 3-bedroom home with average usage of 200 gallons per day, based upon industry standard cost for the type of groundwater source and supply public water system to be constructed. Now, therefore, be it ordered that at a meeting of the town board of the town of New Paltz will be held at the town hall of the town of New Paltz on December 8th.
Does it have to say
20
community center, because it's not the town hall? Does that
Well,
matter? Doesn't matter, okay.
Town Hall Community Center of Town of New Paltz on December 8th, 2015 at 7:30 on said day, to consider said petition and to hear all persons interested in the subject thereof concerning the same, and for such and for further action on the part of said town board with relations to the premises. And this is dated, which is today, November 19th.
Can, just before, we set December 8th, we didn't close the public hearings for the Plains Road, for the Springtown Road, the floodplain. So just help me, Joe, for a second. We didn't close those public hearings. So we have to schedule those public hearings, to at least, to have them and formally close them, right?
Well, we can do it for the same times that you did.
We discussed it.
Well, So we could try to do the floodplain public hearings like at 7:15, 7:30, 7:25, and then close that and then we could close those public hearings and then open the meeting at 7:30 for the purposes of the water district?
Yep.
Will be a public hearing for the water district? Okay, so we can,
Well, we could actually there would be a public hearing for the district. We could then open a board meeting after that
No,
to
no, no, no.
vote on.
No, we can do a board meeting afterwards. I'm just trying to make sure, because we have to continue the public hearings on Springtown Road. So I'm just doing this,
7:30.
so the board, let's finish this and then we'll go and take the action to make sure we take care of the.
We're finished if you sign where it says
We don't
supervisor.
have to vote or anything on this?
Basically, you voted on it.
Okay,
You vote, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, the public hearing that you're gonna hold probably will remain open, because the board really is not going to be able to take any final action regarding the establishment or non-establishment of the district until you complete the secret process.
Okay,
So you
but-
can't take final action on this.
No, that's
until
okay.
you complete the secret, but you can do the public hearing.
Right, no, I know, we are doing the public hearing. I just wanted to make sure, because we had held open the public hearings on the floodplain for December 8th, so I just wanted to make sure we took care of the scheduling of everything, so nothing conflicted with anything. So we're all okay for 7 o'clock on September 8th, December 8th, I'm sorry.
You say 7:30?
No, we're gonna do 7 o'clock for the floodplain
Okay.
for one of the laws. We'll do 7:15 for the second law, 7:25 for the third law, and then at 7:30, we'll have open the public hearing for the exception for the water district number 5.
Sounds good.
Okay, so everybody understands, and we have that scheduled.
Good to go.
Okay.
Okay, so is there anything else we need to do?
Those
with
can
Water
both go to
District 5?
Roseanne.
Do you want any of the totals or anything having to do with the secret?
Do you want to, you can,
Yeah, it's threshold questions.
Sure.
Because you looked at signatures on the petition and compared it to the assessment goals and the assessed valuation. So just so that the board knows, and briefly in a kind of capsule form, the 2015 assessment for all properties in the district is $22,526,347. So $22,000,000. There are 86 properties that are in the proposed district. 5 of those are not improved as residential properties. 48 resident owners signed the petition out of 81 residences in the district. They've calculated that at 59.3% of the total number of households signed. So the resident owners that signed was 48 divided by 74 total residents, or 64.8, almost 65% of the total resident owners signed the petition. The value of the properties that signed the petition compared to the value of all land is $12,459,000. That percentage of resident owners' value compared to the total value is essentially 55.3%. So they needed a value greater than 50.
Don't you say something?
Not really, but I'll let you.
It seems to me that there should be an uninterested party who is checking the signatures and the assessments. That's all I'm saying.
We will vet that.
The board will determine the sufficiency of the signatures and whether they are proper as part of the public hearing process. You don't do it tonight. I'm giving you just a report of what came from the engineer so that you have some sense of when these resolutions say it was signed by the requisite owners, you have some sense that going forward it is on a petition that appears on its face to meet the requirements of the statute.
We must confirm the sufficiency of the data in the petition.
Correct. It is for the board to determine that as part of the public.
Okay.
Which is,
As one part of the.
It's what we do at the library.
which, again, to Dan's point, which is the same thing I was gonna say, we did this, as we discussed, with the library.
And Marty and I did that. We actually went through the signatures and made sure they were
You have
residents.
available to
Yep.
you the assessment,
Yep.
the assessor, everybody, and you should do.
Okay.
Okay, so is there anything else on Water District 5, or is that for it for the evening, for Water District 5?
That's all I have, Joe, unless you had anything else
Okay,
on the
then-
accepting the petition, because it was accepting the petition, and Roseanne will be publishing it, and we will have it in the paper. As Terrence says this, so I believe the paper's coming out early next week, because you have an early, so we planned on it coming out on actually on a day later. We planned on it coming out Friday, actually, so, but it will be out a day earlier. And we'll have it
Okay,
posted,
so-
and we will have these posted up on the website as soon as
I think-
possible.
Oh, okay, we hadn't gotten them before, right?
No, you just got these documents. We just got the petition, as we just noted, a day ago, so.
No, I knew that, I just, it doesn't matter, I mean, I just knew that the resolutions would be worked on, I just thought Carol had put them already up. Because as soon as she gets it, she puts it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need Joe for the historical Huguenot Street contract, we don't need Joe for that? Okay, so we could do that later. Do we need Joe for the executive session on potential?
We do need Joe for the executive session, which can be
Okay.
brief, on a executive session on issues dealing with town personnel.
Okay, so, I usually hate doing this, I like to keep executive sessions at the end, because I don't like for you to sit here and look at a blank table, but, because.
I promise this will,
But because we don't want to keep the attorney sitting here, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing a personnel issue relative to a town employee.
Seconded.
All in favor?
aye.
Okay, motion's carried.
I don't, long as
Why
he
don't you just
doesn't
wait
need to.
why don't you just wait for 30 seconds?
Motion to come out of, I make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We did make determinations in executive session.
Joe?
Should he recuse himself from,
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I do not believe he needs to recuse himself from this.
Sit here.
Well, we should give him a copy of his, let me do this if this is okay. In the executive session, we accepted the opinion.
That's what you're gonna do now.
That's what we're gonna do now.
You should.
I should.
No, but we're gonna give it to him, I thought.
He should recuse himself now. We need to
Myself
accept
and-
it.
And retire? Okay. all right.
Yes,
Okay, please, go ahead.
there's, Marty's back.
You reviewed it in the executive session, I think you're now.
Yes. Now we're ready. That's why I was wanting to recuse himself. So on a letter dated November 16th from the Ethics Board, which gave an advisory opinion in the case of a ethics complaint brought by Kitty Brown against Kevin Barry, the town board is going to take the advisory opinion and to take action. We would like to adopt the opinion. So I'd like to make a motion, we adopt the opinion dated November 16th, 2015 from the Ethics Board that states, therefore, it is the opinion of this board, Councilman Kevin Barry is not required to recuse himself from discussing the changes to the town floodplain law, and the above advisory opinion was received by the attorney to the town and was deemed legally sufficient.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then I will submit that to you, Roseanne.
So, come back in.
And the copy should go to Mr. Barrett.
And a copy to Mr. Barry, and Mr. Barry can come back. Or you keep that. The other action
Do we
taken,
have another copy to give Kevin or you?
right there, on another Board of Ethics, advisory opinion that is dated November 18th, 2015, received November 19th. Well, we are going to set a meeting. We have tabled the meeting, and we're going to have.
We're not taking action.
Yep.
We're scheduling a special meeting for Monday, November 23rd at 7:30.
So Roseanne, we'd like to ask you to post a meeting for, we can use the small room, so we would just need to open the meeting and, for the purposes of a discussion of an ethics complaint. And that would be for November 23rd at 7:30 at the community center.
Everybody's available.
Okay,
I won't be available then, so.
All right.
okay. I know we do have an agenda here, but Susan does.
Do we need to accept that? I mean, we may
No.
not.
No?
No?
Not yet.
No, everyone's good for the meeting, we're good for that. So I do apologize, one quick thing is Susan does have another appointment, so very briefly, we are going to go to the Pilgrim Pipeline, since she has some information that would interest someone greatly in the audience, and she can do it.
Okay, unfortunately, I left my glasses in the car with everything I just took out. But we received a notice from the state asking us to comment on lead agency status for the Pilgrim Pipeline. And the Thruway Authority is trying to take this, the lead agency, but almost all of the towns are against the pipeline for the right reasons, because this pipeline is god-awful. And I think we probably have even voted, probably did a resolution against the pipeline. We did a resolution last year against the pipeline. So we're being asked to possibly support the Thruway to take lead agency status. A lot of people and a lot of towns are asking for the DEC to take lead agency status. And there's many reasons, I don't think I need to explain it to this board, about why we prefer to see the DEC take lead agency status. However, it's pretty interesting. I got a phone call today from a reporter in Albany. He was told to call me by Riverkeeper. And he told me that we had a whole conversation about this, and he sent me the quote from the DEC that was their public record, where this DEC said, quote, "The DEC will participate in the Thruway Authority's coordinated and rigorous review of the project application to ensure that all potential environmental impacts are adequately identified and addressed. This review would include scoping sessions and the opportunity to public comment on the proposed application." So even though it's being circulated to all the interested agencies to see how they feel about who takes lead agency status, the DEC has already said the DEC will participate in the Thruway's Authority coordinated and rigorous review. So does that mean the decision has already been made? I will leave that for all of you to decide what you think, but let's just understand if the Thruway Authority takes the lead agency status, I think there'll end up being some kind of payment to the state for the use of the right-of-way that might help get some bridge built that is in need of a lot of money. So there's a lot going on here. So interestingly enough, the town has the ability to actually say we'd like to declare ourselves lead agent. And so what I would like to do is actually have the board say that we would like to ask, we decline, and I don't know the actual language, Joe, in the sense of that we do not support the Thruway Authority taking, having lead agency status, that we support the DEC taking lead agency status, and if they should decline, that the town of New Paltz is willing to be the lead agent in the Pilgrim Pipeline project. And that will be my quote tomorrow's Albany Times Union.
Is that a motion?
Yes, it is.
Second?
Thank you, Dan.
No problem.
Is there any discussion?
Just for
Let's
this,
have some discussion.
for discuss,
So why would you want the DEC to be declared lead agency if they're already kind of in bed with the Thruway
No,
Authority?
you're right. So we don't even say we want them, we just say
So do we want to
the
just
town.
recommend the town?
That's my first question. My second question would be, what's the impact on the town by making that request? What would our responsibilities be?
Well, they're not gonna give it to
No,
us.
but what would they be?
the same as the planning board.
Well, let me put it to you this way.
We are allowed to declare lead agency for any project within our borders.
What do we have to
access.
do
It
then?
would be an extensive amount of work.
We would
What will
we
it
would do we would do secret. We
Who
would
pay
do-
for it?
The applicant would be paying for it, but our responsibility would then become the same as the planning board. And I'm sure not many people would show up at all during public comment at all to discuss this with it. And I'm sure there'd be incredibly quick meetings. The likelihood of them accepting us as lead agency, I would anticipate would be small. I think Susan's take on this is, to me, I like the idea. It's saying, we want to be lead agent. We care. We care so much. We are willing to take on, the community of New Paltz is willing to take on being lead agency to, because I was going to ask the same question Kevin did, which is, why would we even say, if you're not going to, don't give them the if-or clause. I'd rather just say,
Sure.
Town of New Paltz would like to declare itself. Or Joe, do we declare ourselves lead agency, or how does it work? Do you request lead agencies, or do you declare?
Well, we were asked by the state, no, I don't have my glasses, but Kevin, can you look at this? This is from, I think that's from the state. Can you read it out loud? Or just,
Please indicate your agency's consent or desire to become lead agency by December 16th.
right, so we are desiring to be, we don't want to consent to
So-
the Thruway, we desire to be lead agent.
So, the thinking is then that the Thruway Authority, because they own this property, obviously is gonna be paid a substantial sum of money for the access through their right-of-way.
As they were by the electronic cable that went through back in the
In
80s,
addition
90s, yeah.
to probably annual payments that allows that the flow of both petroleum products, unrefined and refined. I understand it's 200,000 gallons a day each, for each pipe, which could be a significant
Amount of money.
potential liability to the communities that it runs through if there's a problem. And here you have the state collecting all the money from that, so I have a real problem with
It's a
that.
pretty serious volatile oil that has exploded in many places, and it's really pretty dangerous. And then there's also the ability, because they're trying to do some type of sort of, I don't think compressor station's the right name, but some kind of containment in Albany, and they will be bringing tar sands, the Canadian oil, that's also really probably some of the worst oil out there. They also will have the ability to bring tar sands to the place in Albany, the pump station in Albany, and actually then pump it down the pipes that will be coming
So-
down from us.
And there is talk, because the Keystone was vetoed.
Right, exactly.
That they'll try to bring the sink crude
Right, exactly.
from Canada
Uh-huh.
east.
Yeah.
Yeah, my understanding too is that if, God forbid, something were to happen, I mean, we simply don't have the rescue services to deal with it. It would be a complete and utter dangerous nightmare. So, I'm in favor of us.
So,
going forward with that.
just as long as we're not gonna burden any future board here with our decision
I
tonight.
would be more than happy to come back and oversee the lead agency status of this. I am sure our new supervisor would love to take this project on.
So, as long as it's not impacting the future board in any way, and we're trying to send a message, then,
Do you accept Kevin's
So
friendly
I-
amendment, though, that it
I
is
am
not a
delighted-
DEC,
I am
that the
delighted to
town
accept
board,
Kevin's
that the
amendment.
town board is now requesting lead agency status?
Yes.
You okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
You guys are okay with that?
Let's go for it.
Okay, so,
All in
I have-
favor?
I have- all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Motion
are
so
you okay
carried.
with that?
Well, it doesn't matter now, we all voted.
All right.
Doesn't matter.
Aye.
Aye.
So,
So you will be able to, you'll respond back to them to say that the town board, last
Just need
night's
his first
meeting
official action.
declined
Thanks,
through
Joe.
a taking.
Thank you, Joe.
Taking lead agency status and and asked to declare us. Or do you want me to have Dave help with it? Okay. Well,
Qualified to do that.
okay.
Just a quick question, are you still anticipating
You're looking.
closing the global deal by the end of November?
You're welcome. As I told you, you might want to stay around. I just didn't mean you think you'd have to stay around for that long. It will be in the paper tomorrow, though, in the Albany Times Union, that
You
Nichols
can
is
get the
declaring
check any
itself
day.
lead agency.
Okay.
Probably Monday.
okay. Well, thank you. You can leave. Sorry to keep you here. What I would like to do next also is
Bye, guys.
But since we do also have Mr. Gunther here, I would like to, since we have Dan Gunther here, and
He's patiently waited 3 hours.
he hopefully took a nap while we were gone, I would like to have Mr. Gunther come and give a presentation for which we added to the agenda on the New Paltz Youth Center for us to be able to save money on heating costs. Dan, the floor is yours, and I apologize it took so long, but thank you for waiting, and what do you have for us?
Don't apologize. I'm pleased that you were able to see me on such short notice. And thanks for your patience, dedication, and commitment. I'm in awe. And I pledged, and I hope you'll keep me to it, but I pledged to try to come to one of these meetings a year just to know what you guys are doing. It's just pretty amazing. Just real briefly, before I start, I just wanted to mention that I was part of a committee that was sort of a fact-finding committee to see if we could find a way to have a youth center in town. Carolyn Culver ran that committee, and they met over 4 years. I was just a small part of it. But Julian Studley, who died last month, was a major player because he owned that property and then made it possible for the town to have it, and I think did some real nice financing of it. And I would humbly suggest that maybe it would be appropriate for the town to send a condolence note and thanks for all of the things that he did for this town during his lifetime. So with that said, and I can, if somebody contacts me, I can give them Jane's contact information. It was a little bit of deja vu because I also helped Bill Schmalcook with the renovation, again on a very minor level, and I guess it was 25 years ago. And so when I walked in the other day, I just said, this is the place, and I don't know that I've been in it in the last 25 years, but I want to mention that your youth director, Jim, is just such an amazing individual. We are all so lucky that he's there. The tenor of the place, what they're doing, and when I heard there were like 52 volunteers from the college doing tutoring, it's just really incredible. The reason that I was there is last year I built a little passive solar box. Basically had a sheet of glass in front of it. It was a patio door replacement unit. insulation in black behind it, and even on days where it didn't get past the teens, the box went up to 90 degrees. It ended up melting the foam insulation that I had in there and ruining my thermostat. So Marie Young, who's part of Climate Action Coalition, encouraged me to do a box like that at the youth center. So I went over the other day and met Jim again and told him about it, and he said, sounds like a great idea, we'd use it as an educational thing. And as we walked out the south side, I said, here's your box. And he said, what do you mean? Well, there's a room out in the back, and for those of you who are familiar with the youth center, this is south. The main room is here, and Jim's office is over here. Well, I don't want to call it a derelict porch, but it almost is. A very small space. It's 5.5 feet by 11 feet. And over the years, the plexiglass which was there, which probably didn't look very good anyway, disappeared. And I said, instead of building a box, can't we make this a glass sun space? And then either by gravity, a thermosiphon, or a little blower, heat the big room. And one of the advantages here is the youth center is only used by the day, during the day, and it's only used in the afternoon for the most part. And our coldest days in the winter are also the ones with the greatest amount of solar radiation. So it turns out that Climate Action and I are willing to do this, the labor, and maybe we get the kids to help with the deck. It turns out Jim has some money left in his budget, so it seems like this is a perfect whatever to make this happen. So basically what we would be doing, right now there's no windows, there's just an opening here and here, and there's an opening here. He said there's never really been a door on it. So we would close this in, we'd have to have an out-swinging door with an exterior door with a panic bar on it. Anderson makes a very inexpensive silver line window. They're sliders, and one of the nice things about them is that they can be removed. Both of the sliders can be removed completely, so in the summertime it becomes an open porch again. I can also get them with tempered safety glass, so we don't have to worry either about the safety of the students, or for the most part they're breaking. Not that safety glass can't be broken, but all the patio doors require them right now. And I told him, it's just a guesstimate because this all happened in the last 48 hours, but I told him that a rough estimate of the door, which is actually the most expensive single part unless we can get one used someplace, these windows, some insulation underneath, would be in the neighborhood of $3,000. A little bit less. We have one problem here. The stairs that are here are going to be an issue for an out-swinging door. So we have to at least have a 4x4 deck. And then I said, typical contractor, you escalate everything. But I thought that the idea of then having a very small deck across the front of it would give another seating area for a couple of kids or spectators of the activities going on. So for no cost to the town, as it were, you not only, none of the outside doors have vestibules right now, so you get an airlock, you get a commitment to solar with climate change would be a great thing to have. You get an educational opportunity, and you get a heat source for the building. So I would love to have the board give us approval so that we can do this between now and the end of the year. So, and Dan, just so you know, I did discuss this with Gene today, and see, we were busy. He sent it to us and we got right on it. But I didn't waste time. And if you see, Gene is still smiling. So with her still smiling, what would be the maximum amount, and I was just going to pull it up again, that we could authorize for expenditures on this?
Jim and I talked about, he has a panic door at the back of the building right now, because like you just said, the door is the most expensive part. I think Jim said they're about $1,000. Okay, that adds up. Could you use, is there any chance you could use the panic door on the back of his building to put?
He spoke to me about that, and we have to have 2 doors for this to heat up.
Right, okay.
And both of them have to be out swinging with a panic door.
So the one on the back of the house, but not on the back of
There's
the
one
porch?
there's one right here now.
Yeah.
There's nothing here, so we have to have a second door.
I know, but you can't move that panic door
I could
over
move this
there.
one here, but then in order for this.
I know, and then you need one there.
Right.
But it doesn't need to be a panic door, right?
I think they both do.
okay.
So look at this as a vestibule. 2 doors going out, which also, by the way, saves an awful lot of cost.
No, I think it's a great idea. So the reason why Jim had, I don't know if you remember, but Jim's full-time counselor took a position
Yes.
for an attorney leave in the Poughkeepsie School District.
Yep.
And so she's been gone, and so there's easily an extra $2,000 from personal services there. She hasn't returned yet. And then Jim has extra money in his contractual.
And we also have, we also have some money still left in the town board line also.
Right, but he has enough in the youth
Right.
center between point 1 and point 4 that he can accommodate this.
So we'll just move from the personnel line
And
to
you're
the,
getting labor for free, and all we're
Yeah.
paying
So
for is
up to what amount?
up to what amount?
3,000.
How much?
3,000.
Do you feel that will be?
I'd like to see if we can get approval to at least 35, because I'm also thinking about insulation underneath. and
Well,
so
we-
forth. I'd like to keep it to 3, but if we can get approval.
Gene, you see what they do to us? You see what they do to us, Gene? You and I spend all this time going through the budget. So, because the other thing is that we're going to need, it is a town building, we are going to ask, but there'll be no expense, is that you do get a building permit.
Oh, sure.
If you need assistance with the building permit or with any engineering, please get hold of me, Dan, you know how to find me. I believe I have an engineer that will volunteer some time if that should be needed, that would be no cost. I would like to make a motion that the town board approve up to $3,500 for the creation of a passive solar room and a larger seating deck at the New Paltz Youth Center.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Thanks, Dan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you,
If
Dan.
you give me a parts list or some kind of list, we probably have some supplies that you can use already in the buildings and grounds department, and we can purchase that at a discounted rate.
And
Have any doors out there?
The door,
well, we need panic doors though, with a panic bar on it. So. Yeah. So Dan, if you could work also with Chris, so should any trucks be needed or anything, he already does do work there, but we could coordinate.
No problem.
We have some labor, so Dan, I think we have a plan here that will come in. Gene, we're gonna come in under $3,500, I believe. I believe we will be able to.
You know why?
Why?
Because I have not finished negotiating with, right, Kevin?
That's right.
That's right. And I'm with you too.
That's part of your job.
I'm with you, Gene. Dan, thank you very much. Thank you. And Gene, and
You send them back to the door.
And Gene, when the back door is missing from your office, don't ask Chris or I where it is. I'm sorry, that's.
I forgot about that.
It's a very nice metal door that's fire rated, and I'm very sorry. But I do have it.
Okay. Got a nice heavy curtain for you.
Can we do a municipal contract so Horowitz can drive back to Woodstock?
You know, yes. So,
You're getting paid,
no,
so-
let's just do the municipal space, because once we knock that out, we
Okay.
can knock a bunch of other things out very quickly, I promise, Cole. So, Joe, if you could join us, Marty would like to then kind of move something briefly here, which would be the municipal space.
And I need from Gene, I think, is it up here in a packet already?
It's in with the warrant, the 3Ks, and the budget modifications.
Don't we have to sign stuff? Don't we have to sign?
Yes.
Susan or Our topic is the municipal center.
Yes.
And we've asked Joe Horowitz to come sit up here with us because Joe is the architect, or very, very shortly he will be the architect. Now he's the architect in waiting. But we are going tonight to put forth a resolution to authorize the supervisor or deputy supervisor to sign a contract with Joe Horowitz for architectural services to develop the municipal center at 1 Veterans Drive. And I will read the resolution. Kevin, is that the correct procedure to read the resolution? I have 2 resolutions, Kevin.
What order?
One is the secret and one is, why do I not have the secret one?
You need to do them in the order of,
Here's the second one. Oh, here it is.
you need to do the secret first.
Yeah, okay.
So do the secret.
This is a resolution and notice of determination of non-significance for the municipal center architect's contract at a regular meeting of the town board of the town of New Paltz, Ulster, New York, held at the town hall in New Paltz, New York, in the town on the 19th day of November 2015 at 10:26 p.m. The meeting was called to order by Council Member Barry, thank you. And upon roll call, upon being called, the following roll was taken. Supervisor Zimmett, Mark is absent.
Absent.
Council Member Jeffrey Logan.
Present.
Council Member Kevin Barry.
Present.
Council Member Daniel Torres.
Present.
Council Member Marty Irwin, present. The following resolution was offered by Council Member Irwin, who moved its adoption, seconded by Council Member Torres. Resolution that the town board of the town of New Paltz has compared the proposed action as described in the environmental assessment forms parts 1 and 2 with the list of criteria set forth in 6 NYCRR 617.5, the Act, and determined that the proposed action is a Type 2 action and therefore the town has no further responsibilities under the Act. The question of the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote on roll call, which resulted as follows. Supervisor Zimmett, she is absent. Councilman Jeffrey Logan.
Aye.
Councilman Kevin Barry.
Aye.
Councilman Daniel Torres.
Aye.
Councilman Marty Irwin, aye. The resolution was thereupon duly adopted. The second resolution authorizing architect's contract, municipal center. At a regular meeting of the town board of the town of New Paltz, Ulster County, New York, held at the town hall in New Paltz, New York, in said town on the 19th day of November 2015 at, tell me the time again?
10:28.
10:28.
We got a little later. I want to go home. The meeting was called to order by Councilman Barry.
Yes.
And upon roll being called, the following roll was taken. Supervisor Susan Zimmett, absent. Councilman Jeffrey Logan.
Present.
Councilman, it is late, you're excused. Councilman Kevin Barry.
Present.
Councilman Daniel Torres.
Present.
Councilman Marty Irwin,
I'm
present.
spending too much time with lawyers today.
The
I
following
can't even think anymore on
resolution.
my own. I need to ask a lawyer. Am I here?
What time is it?
Wait a minute. The following resolution was offered by Councilman Irwin, who moved its adoption, seconded by Councilman
Second, or Dan's fine.
Torres, who to wit, resolved that the town board of the town of New Paltz hereby authorizes the supervisor of the town or the deputy supervisor, as the case might be, to sign an agreement between the town of New Paltz owner and Joseph Hurwitz and Associate Architects in the form attached, and to sign such other and further documents as are necessary to give full force and effect to the purposes and intent of this resolution. The question of the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote on roll call, which resulted as follows. Supervisor Susan Zimmett, absent. Councilman Jeffrey Logan.
Aye.
Councilman Kevin Barry.
Aye.
Councilman Daniel Torres.
Aye.
Councilman Marty Irwin. Aye. The resolution was thereon duly adopted. Thank you very much.
Confetti drop.
And I
Are
would
you
say
still
that
present?
now that we have given Mr.
Wait till I
Hurwitz
sign.
the protection of a contract, he has been working diligently for weeks without a contract. Thank you very much. Now, I think that is all that we need to do with respect to you tonight, Joe. Unless anybody has any questions. We made you stay for a long time. Thank you very much. See you at 8 o'clock in the morning.
No, it's 7 o'clock and I'll be in Monticello.
Oh, well, a little later then. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. So you'll have the completed plans to us by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning? Is it-
Early.
You're going to also
I
sign
will
these, so
sign
she
these also.
can reproduce this and attach those
Yes.
signature pages and circulate them.
So Joe, we can get these to you tomorrow. Alarm system, the money, there's a note on it. I've already discussed this alarm system with our comptroller for Jim's place, the
So-
alarm system.
I'd like to move that the town board adopt a resolution authorizing the expenditure of $800 plus sales tax.
No sales tax.
No sales
It
tax.
says plus sales tax, no sales tax, all right, we're exempt, right? For the installation, for the purchase and installation of a security system.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye. Unfortunately, if you want to accept a resignation with,
We would like, let's see, so here's a letter to Chairman Mike Calamano. Dear Mike, since it's now definite that the Wilmerite Park Point project is withdrawn and will not be billed or require any further actions by the Town of New Paltz Planning Board, on which I have served as an alternate for this application, I am, by this letter, resigning from the planning board, signed by Lynn Bowdery. Move that we accept Lynn's resignation.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and would like to thank Lynn for her service.
and we do thank Lynn greatly for her service because Lynn also served, she was serving as an alternate, and because of the Wilmerite project, there was a conflict with one of the members. Lynn served many terms on the planning board, and she was gracious enough to stay on to serve as an alternate for a very large project. So she'll be missed greatly. So if anyone is interested in a position, we have a position open for an alternate on the planning board. And this alternate fills in any time that there may be a recusal needed or any time any other action is needed. Also, another resignation, this one also I am very sorry to accept. The resignation has been submitted by Pat Schwartz from the ZBA. I'm very sorry she is doing it. She has served how many terms also? Many, a lot of terms. She is moving on, and she will be actually leaving for the winter again to go down to Florida. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept Pat's resignation effective the last meeting of December, which we're not sure if there's going to be a quorum, but they are.
Her letter says effective January 1st.
Right, it's effective January 1st.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then I would like to move, so filling it, so we will be able to have a full board. In the ZBA, we have interviewed her for a planning board position in the past. Caroline Paulson, who actually even spoke tonight. Caroline Paulson has sent in a interest in being the ZBA. So I would like to make a motion that Caroline Paulson be put to fill the vacated position of
Second.
Pat to take effect, would that also to take effect on January 1st, so she, for a 5-year term. So thank you, Caroline, you might not know. Second, All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and also, so Caroline knows she can come and get sworn in prior to it, so they will be able to have they'll be able to have a quorum in, which one? Does she, yeah, it's one of those two.
So Gene, on this insurance binder for this next year, obviously you went through it, and this is ultimately the lowest we can get for the next premium for the year?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna move that the town board authorize the payment of $110,404.90 to Marshall and Sterling in connection with the town of New Paltz insurance coverage for the next year, starting November 30th, 2015 through November 30th, 2016.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm authorized, you can sign it.
Sign that one. What else do we?
You have the cybersecurity in there too?
That's what we believe.
Right
I
here.
believe I just handed that to
Yes.
Kevin.
This is a coverage endorsement. Is that included in the policy amount or not?
On the back.
Of page 1? Okay. I'd like to move that the town board approve the payment of $627 as the premium coverage for network security for the town system.
Second?
Again, to Marshall and Sterling.
Second to Marshall and Sterling?
Call the question?
Absolutely.
Aye.
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 We are absolutely. So that was the insurance, that was ZBA, it was Carolyn. We did the youth porch. What else you got there for me?
Controller review. That's what, we had.
Actually, do you want to come and speak to us about the budget modification for the library proposition funding? Would you like to join us for that?
We really need to talk about it. When the budget cover sheet has $396,000, which was the funding level for 2 years. The day after was the election and the referendum, and the referendum is $466,000. And I just need you to vote on $466,000 so I can give it to the county so they can tax. That's it. $466,000.
Authorize payment
For
of,
as per the referendum that got voted in by the people.
There, right here, one, there's a dollar amount right there on line L. And just so everyone knows, when you do the public library fund, that also does, the reason why we're able to calculate whether we're within the cap, the library fund is outside of the cap calculation. It did change, the rate per thousand. Do you remember by top of your head? I didn't read, but it does slightly change. $466,000 does change the rate per thousand.
Right, but it doesn't change.
It does not change the tax cap, so we still have not exceeded the tax cap in our community.
But
it affects the
But the increase,
tax.
if it was within or inside our budget, would represent a 1% tax increase to taxpayers. Is that correct? Gene?
460.
Our tax levy is about 7 million and change. This is a $70,000 increase. It's a 1% tax increase that the people will be paying for next year. It'll be outside of our budget, but it'll be on their tax bill.
Yes, yes, that would be directionally correct. So Maureen, do you want to move that amount?
Yes, I'd like to move that public library fund approve the disbursement of $466,000.
Actually, are we approving?
You are approving $466,000.
That will be taxed.
For the 2016 budget level, as per referendum.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And thank you,
very
Gene.
much.
Thank you.
Actually, while we have Laura here and we have Chris here also, we did add it. We had a lot of discussions about the grinder. We've had many discussions with Gene, so whether Chris and or Laura, one of you would like to come up and discuss the grinder and how it is now down to about costing our community about 15% of the actual cost? 10%? No more?
I like those deals.
Chris doesn't feel like standing up a lot, but that's okay. Or if you want to sit down, Laura, whichever.
Okay, I believe we discussed it at the last meeting. I think you, Kevin, had asked for some more information, which Chris had sent out. Did you get the emails? Do you have a copy of it?
Nope.
All right. So again, we're looking at this with the new trend with New York State to look at everything as a business. And as it stands now, we don't have a tub grinder. All right, so we can't process the brush anymore. Next year, there are no additional funds in the budget to rent a grinder. And even if we did, it wouldn't grind it down to any sort of spec where it would be usable. So essentially, what we brought in year to date on just our organics is almost $9,000. So we would lose that revenue next year. We do have a grant coming in. That was the $45,000 that was discussed. Jean actually gave me paperwork on it today, and she received a follow-up notice from DBC that we keep, what is it, we keep moving up higher. Right. So, and that, I did make some copies of this, just so you can see with all confidence that the money is,
Those are all signed.
it's much closer than we just submitting the original program summary. So
That's the $45,000 that the Lord told you about.
That we have to apply for this year?
No,
Yep.
that she anticipates for December.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that'll be coming in. Also, by the end of this year, I have to send the DEC the project summary for the $90,000,
Okay.
which is reimbursement of the recycling coordinator's salary and the education program. And that we're expecting to get by May, reimbursement by May. So, and there's also another grant for a tub grinder that is $127,000, which we also expect by May. So ultimately, all that we would owe on a $320,000 piece of equipment would be $58,000. And I guess I can say all because that's a lot of money, but it's $58,000 would be.
And it's actually a $500,000 piece of
Right.
equipment.
I think last time, are we talking about having them finance this without a prepayment penalty and paying it off next year?
Yes, there is no prepayment penalty.
We got that. We had that in an email that I believe you were sent also.
Right.
Kevin.
Right, so that's the way we're gonna do it.
But, so I spoke with Capital Innovations, again, the people that Laura dealt with. And I can't just drop a $45,000 prepay, like $45,000 lump sum payment on them. But we have the payment schedule of like $5,600 a month for 60 months. So when we get the $45,000 in December, we could make those consistent $5,600 payments monthly, and then her $90,000 will come in, and $127,000 will come in. We can keep making payments, we can make a big lump sum payment, and then probably budget for the $58,000.
Okay. So what kind of a resolution are you looking for from the town board tonight?
What do we need to do? Is our action just simply to authorize, do we need to move the money, or are we authorizing the purchase, the capital expenditure of the purchase?
We're authorizing the purchase and the financing, aren't we?
You would want to authorize the purchase of the tub grinder in 2015 if Capital Innovations agrees, because I gave them the AUD for 2013 and 14, and they're reviewing everything.
And again, the critical piece is that's how we're getting that one piece of money.
That is how we're getting the piece.
Right. If we have to, now, will they also deliver this year, do you believe, or it'll be at least purchased?
Actually, they will, there's two pieces of equipment, one through Morbark, one through Vermeer. They're NJPA, so we don't need to go through a bid process. We can go in and purchase as a municipality. And I was very clear that whatever equipment had to be in by the end of the year. So one has 300 hours on it, one has 17.
I said this was the one that came out and you guys got to throw.
This is the one we looked at, yeah, then we brought back up to factory specs with a warranty before.
With an extra set of screens.
With an extra set of screens.
And they'll deliver.
Dropped off.
Yes, they'll deliver.
And they'll deliver it.
Good negotiation.
They probably would have left it if we told them we wanted it, so we had to haul it.
No, I want them to refurbish it, actually. No, I actually do want it. I want it repainted. I want it.
What's your expected increase in revenue stream as a result of this purchase?
Well, the increases that we had outlined, we did a business plan on it, are about $2,000 a year in additional revenue for processing brush and stumps.
Okay.
And then as far as grinding ash trees, we're looking at $10,000 annually, because we would then be a regional processor for any of the ash trees.
Your organic sales should increase too, shouldn't
The
it?
organic sales should increase. Right now, they, as I said, they were at about 9,000. And we'll also have the additional material that we need to compost. So, and the composting, at one time, we had reached 20,000. So we are working with Greenway, and they have several things in the works, which means they'll be beyond their capacity. So, and again, the 20,000 was in about 6 months.
Okay, so for this
We're looking at, I would say just with the mulch sales alone, about 15,000.
All right, so it's a great return on your $58,000
There's
investment.
going to be,
Okay.
yeah, and if you want to go, just looking back at, previous investments, the reuse center, we received grant funding for 2012. And this year we pulled in 16,000 year to date.
Excellent.
So that has paid for itself in 3 years.
So
Same thing with the dump truck.
what's the total cost of the tub grinder?
320.
So I move.
With a retail value, just so you know, though,
Right,
of about
500.
$500,000. Yeah.
So I move that the town board authorize the expenditure
I'm sorry.
$320,000.
of $320,000 for purposes of purchasing a tub grinder,
It is a horizontal grinder.
horizontal grinder, subject to the supervisor or deputy supervisor signing a retail installment agreement for financing, and subject to Capital Innovations, what, Gene?
Financing.
Financing the complete purchase, right? Okay. Is that acceptable? Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Can't wait to see the tub grinder in action.
Just so you guys know, it's 4 hours.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. We'll get you home. I can't wait to, we'll go out and throw the first tree in.
Okay, what's next?
You want to do a really quick bike ped chair? It's just naming Mr. Weinstein has.
Yeah. Okay, so we've accepted Bill's resignation,
Did
right?
we accept Bill's resignation? Yes, we did. So this is naming of a chair to the bike.
Based upon the recommendation of Bill Weinstein, I'd like to move that the town board appoint Peter Kaufman to succeed Mr. Weinstein as chair of the bike ped committee.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Just very quickly too, and I apologize, I stepped out for it.
No.
During the appointments, did we make an appointment to the ENCB for Ingrid?
We did not, and I don't have that in the file, so if you would like to, we
She's
didn't.
been coming to our meetings, the ENCB likes her a lot, she's been acting as a member anyway, she's not a member. So if it was okay with people, could we appoint her, just so that committee would be able to have
I
her?
haven't interviewed her, it's the only thing that's.
Her stuff was sent
No, I remember seeing it. Did anyone else send, there was only the one applicant?
That was it.
Okay, so in lieu of there's being one applicant, there would not be a need to hold interviews because we have one applicant, so you want to move that?
I apologize about Ingrid's last name, but we'll go with that.
Second? Second?
Right. All those in favor?
All in favor of Ingrid?
Aye.
I think. So Ingrid does need to, Ingrid, if you're watching or still available, make sure you get in to see Roseanne to swear in and fill out the paperwork.
We're gonna have 50 Ingrids come in tomorrow.
And she will indicate, this, okay, and I was gonna say, or for a term to be dictated, but it will be for a 5-year term.
What's next?
Sure.
Gene, would you like us to do the the financial recommendations? Would that assist you greatly?
Do we have to do it?
We can do it, but we can do it,
I will tell you what.
we
you
can do it very
absolutely
quickly.
Must do in there is your health insurance
Yes.
renewal.
I'm with,
That absolutely has to be done because there's a meeting.
Gene, if you will come and sit here, I will go through all 9 of these so quickly, because I know everyone went through and read it. There are some of them that are very critical. The health insurance one is a critical one also. So this is from the memo that Gene sent out to everyone. You should have all gotten a financial recommendation packet. It was a large packet with all of the backup. What I like about it is it reads very similar to when you get an audit from the state comptroller. It not only says what she audited, but also the recommendation. So thank you, Gene. So for the financial recommendation number 1 is for boot allowances. I would propose that the boot allowances are paid through payroll at the full contract value, and this would be for our highway department.
Well, or if you could do it, my suggestion is that
Go.
it can be done either way.
Well, I was giving the option of, you wanted me to go through this?
If you wanted to go, it could go straight through payroll, but if it's gonna go on a voucher, it has to have a receipt.
Well, the reason why I was going through the payroll at the full contract value is then it goes on to the payroll and it's a cleaner. If you'd prefer us do it,
I just don't want anybody to think that, the thing is that I have them on a voucher right now with
Right.
no
Back up.
receipts.
well, we have seen receipts though, Chris, I know, because I've signed them.
Is there any,
Historically,
Gene, is there any
We did it
savings?
different this year, which caused an issue.
Because in the past, I've signed receipts from Montano's and from Dick's Sporting
What we
Goods.
did in the
and-
past year was to upload everyone right up front, January.
and you should have gone through payroll instead of, there's no receipts. And historically, they're received. So I'm just saying that this year, this needs to be cleaned up before it closes.
So the reason I was recommending is through payroll at full contract value. That is the cleanest point,
It is, but.
right? And it's the contract, 8 people, 10 people, 8 people, 10. 10?
So
12.
everybody always spends up to the 225?
Right.
So nobody,
Yes.
there's no savings there, right? If they bring a receipt in, there's no savings, right? Historically?
No.
No.
All right, so
Usually
let's
people
just do it
spend
through
up to
payroll.
actually go over.
If you remember signing the receipts, many of them actually go over it, and we only reimburse
Okay,
up
so let's
to
go
the.
225 payroll.
Actually, it'll be at the full contract value, so if the contract does change, then we will have that. So on number 1, we are going to do, should we take a motion vote on this, or are you good with just taking what are recommendations?
I think you should do a motion vote.
So I would like to make a motion that the boot allowance for our highway buildings and grounds and recycling center is given at its full contracted value through payroll.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Uniform cleaning allowance to the police department. The cleaning allowance, the uniform and cleaning allowance is not done either through any type of voucher. It is just paid out. So I'd like to make the recommendation, which comes from our comptroller. She also gave us a couple either ors. My recommendation is that it is processed through payroll twice a year at the stated contract value.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Snow removal for meal allowance. I would like, this one, I did not have a recommendation fully, and I wanted to hear Chris's ideas on it, and also Jean's ideas on that one. That would be the number 3. Jean, what is your, which alternative did you want to do? You had either submitted for overtime hours worked, and then they provide receipts for the food,
Okay.
or submit for payments just be processed through payroll.
Historically, the town has not required receipts for meal reimbursements, merely a stated fact that they worked overtime, and maybe you look at the timesheet to see that overtime's been done, and then the superintendent signs off on it. However, the IRS guidelines says that a meal reimbursement has to be receipted for reimbursement. If there's no receipt, it's considered income, it's a wage. So you can either do a receipt, or you can do up to the value in the contract, or you can do for every overtime that a meal reimbursement is due, you could give the documentation and no receipts, and we'll run it through payroll.
I don't understand the last one again.
So,
What you just said, the last thing you said.
If you don't want to do receipts, okay, and you just want to document for each overtime occurrence where you've exceeded the hours and you are due a meal reimbursement, the superintendent could verify and submit. You could create a formatted, template where you submit it through payroll with the documentation of overtime hours, time sheets or
So-
something. And we do it through payroll.
and just so you know,
Based on an overtime.
it would be on the,
Right.
this would be per.
That makes the most sense, doesn't it?
So it would be, so
Less
for,
paper to look at?
so, and it's 10, so just so you know, Kevin, a man or woman has worked 14 hours plowing snow. They have a contracted value to that meal of $10.
Right now,
It's-
it's going to, that hopefully will go through a labor management, because the way it is now is just utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
It takes us hours to figure out.
Right.
We need
Now-
to streamline the pay and streamline how it's paid.
Do we still have several eating establishments that allow them to sign, and then we are submitted to receipts by
We always
those?
did, well, see, it did change.
The
We
deli,
always
the
did have
diner.
a receipt, but we took it and reimbursed that at petty cash when the highway department.
Well,
had
can they
it.
still go to the diner and sign for it? Can they still go to?
Yes, as well, things have changed, because the diner changed a little bit.
Let's
But
do it.
yeah, there was two
But
establishments
we
in
wouldn't
New
be doing it
Paltz.
that way.
No, we're gonna do it through payroll. right?
Payroll.
So they'll just get the extra money, they pay themselves when they're out. When they're out, they pay for their own meal, they're getting reimbursed in their check.
Okay.
Okay, so
They're
meal,
out and they pay for
Which
their
is
own
what they-
meal, and they want to bring the receipt in, they'll be reimbursed up to the contract value.
okay, so what we'll do is, my recommendation, it's meal reimbursements submitted for payment will be processed through payroll as income with timesheets attached as proof of overtime activity and meeting the contract guidelines at the contracted meal price.
Not as income, no.
It is, because they're not providing a
Without
receipt.
Well,
it's-
they don't wanna be taxed on it, do they?
To streamline at this point, the crew doesn't, they
Okay.
rather in their pay, because it's so difficult now to figure out what's done.
Okay, so this wouldn't be subject to a union grievance or anything like that?
No,
have
this
jumper
was
pay.
something
I
we
have
brought up
jumper
for a
pay.
labor
They're
negotiation.
willing to have it on their payroll. So again, what it would be is meal reimbursements submitted for payment should be processed through payroll as income with timesheets attached as proof of overtime activity and meeting the contract guidelines for meal reimbursement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next recommendation, which has to do with night shift benefit. And again, Jean, could you go through this one? Because I was a little bit confused. It had to do with the Medicare, it's not a simple one.
It's very.
And I know this one you discussed with me, and I know Boone understood it, and I didn't. Thank you. Because he did.
So the retirees, when you're retired and you're on the night shift plan, a benefit of being under the night shift health insurance as a retiree is that the town, or not just the town of New Paltz, but the local government or the state of New York will reimburse you for your Medicare B reimbursement. Historically, I remember when I was here in 1998, we have reimbursed every retiree their Medicare B reimbursement. Only I verified with the labor attorney that this is a night shift product where we should be only reimbursing the night shift retirees. However, I will say that right now, retirees on MVP Gold is cheap enough that the MVP Gold payment plus the Medicare B reimbursement is cheaper than the night shift retiree rate. So I wouldn't want to discourage them, because if you do, you'll push them all onto the night shift retiree, and then you lose your savings. So I don't really want to say, let's just, cut it out. That was one of those things. So the other thing I read while doing all this investigating, and I don't know, maybe Dan already knows about this from the county, but I reached out to the state of New York to find out. It said that your Medicare premium is deducted from your Social Security check.
Right.
So then when the state of New York sends you your retirement allowance, the state of New York will be reimbursing you. I sent an email to the state retirement system, and they sent me to New York State Civil Service, and I have yet to get somebody at Civil Service to concretely answer my question as to whether or not our specific retirees are getting the Medicare B reimbursement in their state retirement, so that they're getting it in their retirement, and the town has been giving them Medicare B reimbursement. So I'm looking into that. I'm trying to get the answer.
And no one's calling you back on that?
No one would call me back on that.
No, I couldn't get through yet, so I'm still trying to find connections.
That is a huge.
Where I could get through, but maybe they don't, because, you have to look at the bigger pictures, that if you look at the way that state government works, is that they put a lot of the onus on the local government. So most likely, we do have to do the reimbursement, because it would make our budget larger and their budget smaller.
That's how that works.
So, do you need us
So
to?
I'm still looking into that, okay,
So-
but I wanted you to know about it, because it's this very
But
big thing.
Gene, the Part B reimbursement was done voluntarily by the town for a group of employees for years, correct? It wasn't mandatory, the Part B.
No, the Part B reimbursement is mandatory for night shift retirees.
Only night shift though, right?
It's a product of night shift.
It's part of the night shift when you sign
It's part
up.
of being a government employee.
Right, but we had another category of people that don't have the night shift benefits that we were still reimbursing.
The
Yes.
MVP
The
goal.
B. And that is because historically, the B piece has been pretty low. But over time, that B piece is now increasing
Yes,
for the reasons you just said about the state and
yes,
local dynamic.
yes.
Same thing's happening. It's gonna reach a point, though, where the town is gonna have to make a decision about that and maybe cap it.
Okay, but I have something else to add to that. And when this whole system was created and designed, there was no such product as MVP Gold. And even today, the MVP Gold is significant. It's more than $100 less than the night shift retiree plan per month. It's significant.
Yeah.
That you don't want to penalize
I
the people
understand. Yeah.
who are not out of state but are here in New York. And so if you do that, you hurt the town.
Okay.
So we will look for future action from you on this.
I'm still
Okay.
working on, I thought I'd
Okay,
have an
nope.
answer, which is why I put it on the list.
Okay.
So, could you see if you can hear
Yeah,
anything?
let's chat about that.
Okay.
The next one, DEC grant for the tub
Oh,
grinder,
was-
that is
yeah,
done.
Laura stuff.
Done, it's done.
That's done.
The next one, I will assign to Mr. Torres.
Do you?
You're welcome, Dan. I've been unable to locate a contract with which to pay the contractually appointed historian. Does one exist? No. Please advise.
You have one?
No, so, and the reason I'm assigning Dan, all we gotta do is if you could see Roseanne and grab one of our contracts we have with someone else, and then replace the words on it.
Well, there's a job description. I wonder if that could just be.
And if you need Joe to turn it into a contract,
Okay.
and then she needs to come in and fill out
I
So we
thought
got her to
she
do,
filled
we
out
got
the
her, no,
form.
we got her to do the W-9. We
Yeah.
just
Okay.
need a tool
To what, to pay her?
with which to make it
Can you do that?
okay.
Okay, so you just want me to talk to Joe about getting a,
So, no, actually, I think if you just go and see Roseanne, she can give you the, we have, you know what I mean? We have contracts with other people. It would literally,
You need some help, Paul.
you're just gonna take out some words, put some in. Also, while we have you guys here and I have Roseanne, is if you did not yet fill in your standard work week, raise your hand.
oh, I did it, and I came to your office, but I didn't send it to you, because you weren't in that town.
You did it?
What do we have?
Oh,
what do we
God.
have next?
Oh, come on.
What do we have here?
Oh, I loved you so much. I'll help you fill it in next time we're there. I will help you fill it in.
What's?
And Dan will send it, so thank you. That'll make her life happy. Because we just need it by the end of the year. Sorry.
What's next?
The next one is, this one, also number 7, the NBP health insurance
This is the
renewal
health
documents.
insurance renewal.
This is something that is very near and dear, unfortunately, to Kevin and I's heart. This is what we spent a long time on. What is very nice, Kevin, is everything you and I spent a long time on, I called Mr. Strothanke, and he said, Jean has it all. And I went and saw Jean, and guess what Jean did? She had it all.
Yeah.
You got it all.
Yeah. Go
For the
ahead.
MVP.
Go ahead.
I know, this is awesome. We are very
Right,
excited.
so-
You just took hours off of our plate.
Night shift came out initially in like September and said they were gonna have an 8% increase. They did not. The numbers just came out yesterday for night shift. The individual plans like 5% and family plans like 6.5%. The MVP plan here, the product that we had last year is in here. It's no longer available. No longer
Go on.
available. Okay. So the most similar plans are, we have included the silver 8 and the bronze 6. The difference, the significant difference is, they're both high deductibles. We're going along the same lines of what we've been doing where the town funds 75% of the employee's deductible.
Is it the first or the second?
First.
The
First.
75.
The first 75,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so the silver 8, the deductible is $3,500 for an individual, $7,000 for a family. And the bronze 6, the deductible is $6,450 for an individual and $12,900 for a family.
But just, that's because of our rating, because of our group size though, so these.
Well,
they-
we
they don't-
started out worse. We started out where MVP said we had to include our,
What's the premium associated with those deductibles?
well, actually, believe it or not, the one with the 3,500, so if you fund 75% of that, the cost comparison is that will be overall, that'll be the cheaper one. It'll be $315,000 instead of $319,000, and it's in the package.
And Kevin, one of the other changes is that we're going to be seeing, this year, we're in good shape, but we will be watching in 2017 very closely, is these will fall under the Cadillac tax, which is part of the health laws. So we are looking, 2016, we know what we're doing. 2017 is going to be a very challenging year for municipalities.
So we're going to be penalized for providing our employees with reasonable health insurance that's going to be deemed to be a Cadillac product, and we could be penalized for that as a town, right?
Possible.
But we offer significantly better than norm.
Than private, maybe, private sector, but we offer a similar product to other municipal governments, don't we?
We offer significantly better products than the norm.
The norm being defined as other municipalities?
Yeah, you want me to get you some data?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just so you know also is, we do owe a big thanks to both Gene and to Mid-Hudson VIP Insurance, Paul Strothanke. They originally had rated us asking that we take all of our retirees. And what happens is retirees, believe it or not, as part of the aging process, you see doctors more frequently. And then that changes your rating. And as your rating, that would make us pay more in premiums. Paul and Jean, through multiple phone calls and discussions, and then Paul actually went up, Strothanke went up and did an appeal for us to MVP, and they changed their mind, and they do not now rate our retirees with us, which also changed our pool size and changed.
1 to 100, which was bad.
It changed our experience rating and also our group size, which was
Bottom line.
huge.
This year versus next year, total insurance premium cost to the town.
450.
No,
So this is just on MVP, though.
I'm talking about, what do you anticipate? Last year, we had a budget for insurance, health insurance. Is, how much higher or lower will it be?
Last year, we budgeted like 435.
Okay,
This year, budgeted 450.
okay. It's not too
And that should have us about right. Now, it did, but the contribution, we are increasing, we will be increasing contribution because we're doing 75%. But our experience is showing us that it's not, and Jean held me true here, the experience rating is showing that we are not utilizing all of those funds.
Which is excellent. So
You're not.
there's,
You're not.
so we're doing pretty well in saving, I guess we're pretty healthy then,
Yes.
as a town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the recommendation from Mid-Hudson VIP and the recommendation I'm making is to select the HDHP Silver 8 program.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. And that is, again, that's the Liberty HD-HP Silver 8? Okay.
Okay, then, there is, I need to make a decision. MVP is required to let us know that they have this essential pediatric dental coverage. Okay? So they had to give this to me, and I didn't want to just sign it, and I didn't want to just decline it. But we offer the
That's what
staff,
I'm saying.
dental
We al-
coverage. We don't need to buy this.
That's what I was wondering.
It will add to the cost.
We already offer dental, so we can.
You want to decline it?
We will, I would like to make a motion that we decline
Second.
the dental. All in favor? Aye. Aye. And again, we're just so everyone's clear, we're declining that because we do offer already dental to our employees.
Okay, and the last thing on the health insurance.
The
is
HRA.
The HRA fee, which is $4.50, that is, per participant per month.
Make a motion that we approve the HRA fee of $4.50 per participant per month.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. While we're on,
One more thing I want to tell you, just in case any employees ask you or anything, the MVP for this year, the way the HRA was working this year was that a lot of the employees put the money out themselves, and the card, they had a lot of trouble with it, and the check would go to the employee months later. But the big change that we have for next year is that they can slide the card, the doctor will file with MVP, and the money will go directly to the doctor. So
Much
all of
better.
that will go away,
Good.
and it won't be a big effect.
and just so everyone knows that, and again, why that was a difficulty is because they would get a bill from their health provider and not understand why, and someone else in the household may have received the check and decide, wow, I just got a nice check. And, wow, I'm so glad I did the mail today. So, thank you, Gene. While we're on healthcare, Gene, I will come back to yours. I'm not skipping your number 8, number 9. Just so we know, is to give a short history on this is when you retire from the town of New Paltz, you, based on your contract, you get your contractual coverage. The contractual coverage that is given to healthcare for most employees is either at no cost or at a small percentage payment. That has never been an issue. We have that covered. If they wish to continue on the eye and dental, they need to cover all of the premium. Unfortunately, we have had individuals not making their payments for the eye and dental. And it has become it unfortunately became our problem. So after much discussion, and this includes discussions that I had with Bill Wallens, Gene and I had discussions with Bill Wallens, our labor attorney, the recommendation we'd like to make is that we will terminate the insurance benefits not subject to union contracts. So this would only be vision and dental for retired employees for non-payment. This would be including sending a 30-day late notice, then a 60-day in arrears notice with a termination date and then termination. So the employee would be getting a 30-day late notice, then a 60-day, another 30 days from that, they would get a notice that says they are in arrears, and that next notice would also include the termination date, and then we would terminate. And just so everyone knows also, the comptroller is also very for this, reason being we are using town assets to pay these premiums.
Second.
Before you say second, the only other part also is, Gene, do you also wish to have in this how it is paid? It is a quarterly, it is a biannually, it is a annually?
No, I actually prefer to have quarterly billing.
Now, is that how you would prefer, so would we make that part of it? So, Kevin, would you take a friendly amendment of also adding that all insurance benefits not subject to the union contract that are paid by the employee are paid on a quarterly basis?
Yes.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Actually, it's second, so yeah, please do.
Yeah, so we're looking at, how long is the period from when we notice to when we're terminating?
Sounds like it's about at least 90 days.
90, okay, that's what I thought I heard.
90 days, so they have a full, now the other downside to that is we have as a town
So
paid,
that makes you a quarter
Yeah.
behind.
and we've paid it, we out of our town assets, and now we need to recover that quarter. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Go back to one, and I left it for last because it makes Gene happy. We are coming up at the year-end close, the AUD, the correcting entries, and we are going back to reinstituting the issuing of monthly vouchers. Because there are really cool spreadsheets that if you don't wear glasses, I can't read them. But she has very cool spreadsheets that are fun. I care, I look at them, they're very nice. I just needed to wear my glasses when I was looking at them. What this does, this also relieves some of the daily duties at Town Hall from other individuals because there is now a tracking system for all of the vouchers that are issued.
These are very specific.
Yes.
These are everything that's in the budget, they're monthly vouchers by department. So they're monthly vouchers for Central Hudson by department, monthly vouchers for cell phones by department. And this way, everybody by department can turn in by the due dates, so that we don't have late stuff coming in for the warrant. We don't have late things for people to sign, things like that. And that's why I wanted to.
So what it is she's requesting the help of Diane Lee for a total of 16 hours a week. We do have more than enough money in the budget to cover this. That is my motion.
Did you get it?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I would also like to add a number 10 recommendation in signing vouchers. I have noted a change, which I would like to say that the town of New Paltz, in this very building we're in, you will notice that we provide water via a water cooler. We provide it out at our location out there because the water out there is not potable water. It actually cannot be drank. It actually does require that we have bottled water. We also have bottled water out at the youth center. I would like to make a motion that the town only purchase bottled water, any rental fees associated with the machines for the bottled water, and cups from which to drink the water. Those will be the only authorized expenses. Reason being is I have noted on recent vouchers that it looked like coffee was being purchased, K-cups, creamer, half and half. associated insulated cups. And these expenses add up very quickly. If we're going to give them to one department, we need to give them to all. So I am just asking for equal treatment of
Second.
all departments. Any discussion? Nope. All in favor? Aye. That was number 10, Gene. Did you have number 11? Because I see everyone packing stuff up, and I think they have no mood for number 11.
These resolutions, right?
We have to do prepaid.
We have to do some prepays. Do you really want us to do minutes, or are you gonna kill us? Okay.
First prepay is architect contract, authorized prepay, October 29th. Joseph Hurwitz and Associates has been selected as the architect for Phase 1 of the new town hall design. Phase 1 fee of $50,000 was set aside until receipt of the impending $425,000 cell tower revenue anticipated by late November. Joseph Horowitz is requesting a $20,000 down payment. I am requesting authorization to prepay the $20,000 when the town's receipt of the $425,000 is available. I would like to move that we...
Second.
And that is, and just for the quick discussion, Gene, that is as you had written?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
I read it.
And that check should be
Oh, you read it, thank
received
you.
by the town within the next couple days.
That is excellent. I'm sure Joseph Horowitz and Associates will be pleased.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else?
Did I misspeak?
We have to move the warrant.
But is there any other
Well, don't we have to
prepays?
do the prepay?
Oh, I'm
one at a
sorry.
time?
No, we have another prepay.
Yeah, there's one more prepay.
That's a budget modification.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, so we don't have to take specific action on that? Are you saying?
Yeah, you
I thought we did.
yeah, we do. No, we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's from what?
Yeah, from two.
This is to the town board from Chief Snyder, Police Department, respectfully requesting that the town board authorize me to make a budget modification in the 2015 budget for insurance recovery to allocate, insurance recovery check of $925.12 and to increase account A3120.4 where expense will be allocated. We are increasing A980.2680.0 insurance recoveries by $925.12. We are increasing A522.3120.4 PD contractual expense by the same amount, $925.12.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you have another one?
That was, turn the page, just make note, just the staple pages, or another one stapled to it? Or is that just, no?
Would
Rosanna has
would more than one be stapled together, Gene?
Rosanna has a spare one.
So this is a two from, let's see, a recycling department, transfer funds from the sponsor line to equipment line, A8189.20 to cover equipment purchase of hydraulic pump and office supply overages from receipts and decals. So we would like to increase the line of A5228189.200, $282. Increase A5221345.560, $294, and that would then go to A9802130.010 for a sponsorship of $576.
Second.
All in favor?
I have a police commission meeting, minutes from August 20th, 2015. President, Commissioner Logan, Barry, Irwin, Torres, absent Commissioner Susan Zimmett. Very short meeting, monthly report for June 2015. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd like to recommend that the police commission adopt the police commission minutes from the meeting from September 17th, 2015. Present were Commissioner Barry, Irwin, Torres. Absent were Commissioner Zimmett and Logan. We discussed the lease with Nikonco, the Chief announced that the department had received the Bronze Award for AAA for pedestrian safety. We discussed the non-code lease. I asked him to go back for a better price. He came back with a meeting later on with a better price. And we went into
Yeah.
executive session.
And I believe I was just
Why
late.
is this on the?
I didn't send those out.
Oh, that's what she has in her folder.
We did those.
And I think I was late to that one. That's
Okay, so
what,
we'll redact that from the video.
that'll be, council would like to redact the list. Those were in the folder here.
Is this what you want, this one from October 15th?
We just did that one.
One for October 15th?
You have nothing else that you wanted to do on town hall then? There's nothing? Oh.
Well, it's a different
Not that we're all
time.
getting late and tired, is it?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay, just do that one. I thought you just did that one.
Okay, so Rosanna wants me to have the police commission adopt minutes from October 15th, 2015. Only one absent was Commissioner Zimmett. Chief Snyder and Lucchese went to a AAA awards luncheon. No Shave November, which Mr. Torres or Councilman Torres is participating in.
And doing quite well.
And I ask that anyone please go on to, Dan, please fill in the website.
Sorry, what?
What's the website to go?
Oh, it's No Shave November, and you type in New Paltz Police Department, and we have over $1,800 raised.
So please go into, so everyone who would like to make a contribution, please go in and make a donation to, and this is all going towards
It's various cancer organizations.
cancer research.
So moved. Second.
I think Dan actually so moved it already, didn't he? You just need the second.
I thought I was reading them.
That doesn't matter.
Okay, all
Both.
in favor?
Aye.
Oh, boy. And I have town board minutes from October 15th. You want this too? Okay.
Of course he does.
Present.
Let's get it done.
Everyone was present. Public input, Bob Gabrielli talked about Julian Studley and what he did for the community. The announcement about suing New Paltz, not pursuing Park Point, at least the foundation wasn't. We we renewed our labor contract with Romer Wallens Gold. Councilman Irwin gave us an update on the municipal center. We approved the warrant. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You want me to do these too?
Yes, please, Kevin.
I think I handed them to you.
Okay, there was a public hearing,
The budget public hearing.
there was a budget public hearing at 7, flood damage prevention at 7:15. There was subdivision of land at 7:35, and then the town board meeting, from October 22nd, 2015. We know what happened at the public hearings on all three. Town board meeting, we discussed the demo of the 87 motel, security cell tower contract, child care center, town historian, and we actually, we adopted some resolutions regarding the floodplain. This is, all in favor?
Second.
I guess aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's that one. Special town board meeting, October 29th. Everyone was there. ShopRite performance bond, engineering services, alternative water sources, quite a bit of public input, discussed the IMA with the village regarding the water supply system. Dave Lent and the committee gave a presentation on the municipal center. There was an engineering service agreement regarding the water supply entered into. We talked about the ShopRite performance bond, the UPSU contract ratification. We adopted the preliminary budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Second. We need a second.
Second.
Second is.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. No, we have just one more quick piece. Stacy, our building inspector, we have several, I'll just do this one real quick, then we'll do that. Stacy, our building inspector, has multiple issues that we need to handle with agricultural and markets. Her and I are At the end of quite a lot of research and discussions with Ag and Markets, she now needs to go to some legal advice and also some engineering advice. So I'd like to ask for approval of up to $1,000 for review of Ag and Markets proposed changes and definitions for Stacy Diardi, our building department.
Where's it coming from, Jeff?
That is will be determined by Ms. Galucci.
I have in B-Fund legal.
You're right.
It is funded.
Seconded.
And that's as a result of the Ag and Markets determination.
Actually, this is actually not, just so everyone is really briefly note, one is there is some Ag and Markets, we're having discussions with the piece of property and some on the corner of South Putt Corners Road and 32. They clear cut that land and now there seems to be development. We're having some difficulties with definitions between the land, between the land leasee and Ag and Markets. Also, Glenwood, which is leasing land from Mulholland Preserve, also is some definitions with Ag and Markets on what is defined as a business and what is not defined as a business. These are for tax implications.
Okay.
And making them taxable or not.
There was a second.
Yes. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Gene, I'll work with you to find the money on that. I know we have it in the B, but just the exact, it's right in the B legal? There you go. It's done. Then the last thing we gotta do is just with someone like, we're gonna do the warrant. That's what Dan keeps signaling, the warrant.
I had something too.
Yeah, didn't you need us to approve money for?
I just need the
How
town
much
board
money?
up to $1,500.
All right, so I'd like to move that we approve up to $1,500 for Rosanna to talk with council regarding the historic Huguenot Street contract.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
How do you want to move the warrant? Next year.
I'd like to move the November 2015 warrant following claims have been presented, duly audited, allowed at meeting thereof on the 19th of November in the amounts hereinafter respectively specified, a certificate having been duly filed in my office as town clerk, hereby authorized and directed to pay each of the following claimants.
In the aggregate amount of?
In the aggregate amount of $1,102,152.35.
That's a big one.
That
All in
is.
favor?
Aye.
That was
I've never
was that
seen-
seconded?
Second.
Second.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
seconded it.
Dan seconded, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear a second.
Then the
All in
aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
I haven't seen one that high.
I know, it's a pretty big one, right?
Yeah. Gene can tell you why it is so high. Real quickly, there's a reason, we did the big payment for,
DB fund, $130,670.59, and A fund, $871,000.
there you go. Adds up quick.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.